Yeah, I didn't know.
Nope. I do that myself, and we live. Do the thing.
Welcome to the greatest colloquium campus in existence.
You saw that face he made, bro?
I'm here with the men, not the boys. The men this time. Growing up. Boys to men, you know?
That's the group.
How long have you been waiting to make that joke? How long?
These things just come out of my head. It's like I'm schizophrenic or something. Oh man. There's actually a funny scene in Venture Brothers where Hank Venture says something really weird one day. Like usually Hank is always saying weird shit, but one day he says something so weird. Fucking Brock Sampson stops mid-sentence. It's like, Hank, where do you come up with this stuff? He's like,
You have mentioned this.
he's like, you're channeling. It's like you're channeling dead crazy people. Like I don't understand. Like that would just he had to finally comment on it. He was like, I just can't. But anyways, I'm here with the Cool Blue one-man wrecking crew, the Human Calculator with the numerical
Are we all wearing blue? Yo, EJ, what color is that?
It's like a navy.
Looks like we're the
Dark.
Cool Blue man group.
What the fuck is wrong? Oh my god.
The Human Calculator with the numerical nomenclature. Raytron, uno, dos, tres. Why is my vision being so weird all of a sudden? Jesus
That's
Christ.
God nerfing
Anyway.
you, bro.
Cataracts.
Cataracts.
Glaucoma.
What was I saying? Oh, the man with the plan, the ultimate Nas fan, the electric jolt, E to the frickin' J. Not hiding his hairline from us today. I guess he
Fresh
went
out
and
the
got a
bulb.
fresh cut. Yeah, he got a fresh cut, so he's not hiding it today.
Make my appearance again.
Yeah. And me, the strongest man in the universe, a real American hero. Get it? Because G.I. Joe. No, yeah. Vanguard. Anyways, how you guys doing? Yeah.
Doing good.
I'm not
Hanging
doing
in
so
there.
hot, actually. I had to bring my car back to the nigga who so-called fixed it, because he ain't fix it.
Damn. About to switch mechanics on that one.
Bro, I'm only going to this guy because it's my dad's so-called friend. Even my dad is tight at this man, bro. He's like, yo, what is?
What the plot?
Yeah, no, like, my dad was mad, bro, because like he had the car for like 2 weeks. I gave the man the car before we went to Miami. Then I come back and he still had it for like a week after that.
And what are you doing?
Yeah, no, seriously. Like he fixed all the cosmetic stuff. Like I had a crack on like one of the bumpers. He fixed that. I'm like, outside, it looks nice. I take it for a quick drive. I'm like, yo, the one problem.
Start sparking, making.
The one problem I sent this thing over to you for, you ain't fix it. What's good?
Yeah. Funny story, right? My uncle, one of the businesses that my grandmother had opened, was a fucking because she just used to open businesses for people and shit. She opens a freaking auto shop for one of my uncles. And you know what this motherfucker did? He used to do what you said. He wouldn't fix people's cars. People would bring their cars and he would just drive them around. He would just drive people's cars.
Good
Like
test
they were his.
drives.
Yeah. And then, like he wouldn't fix their shit. So people would come there always mad at him, trying to fight him and shit, and then she had to close it down. Oh,
Why would
man.
like, did he know how to fix car?
He knew what he knew. He was just a lazy fuck. He just
That's
liked
crazy.
he would take like deposits from the people and like use their money, but not fix the car at all.
Nah, that's crazy. Cause he could have just fixed the car and he would have been sitting pretty. He had a nice little business.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's not the only time he did it, man. He did that again. She opened a restaurant, and it's funny because his restaurant is in the movie Shatas. She used to own it, and because my grandmother's name was June. If you watch the movie Shatas, there's a restaurant in there called June's. My grandmother used to fucking own that thing, but she had to sell it because one of my uncles was like he just used to, again, he didn't make food, he always kept it closed. He would just use these businesses to impress women and show them that he had a business. And he used to
That's a large waste of time, bro, and money. God damn.
Man, we was kings. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I wish I
yeah.
had the freedom to just open a business to impress women and then just,
You know,
not do
I mean,
anything with it.
people do shit like that still. People do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, no,
But
like I was watching this video where this guy he rented like a really impressive like office space and hired a bunch of people. He didn't have the money to do any of this shit, right? But he knew that if he looked like he was credible, people would just believe that he's credible. So before
yeah,
he actually started a business, he pretended he had a business.
You still need to get that loan though, right, from the bank
No,
for the business.
no,
Yeah.
no.
So how do you get the money?
He had some money.
you
Oh,
trick people. You
Yeah,
just get other
he had some money because like the reason he knew that he just had to pretend to be credible is because he's been doing this shit his whole life. Like he just knew a bunch of like rich and powerful people, and so he just was around them. And he's like, oh, if I just pretend to be rich and powerful, these niggas will give me whatever
yeah.
I want.
Yeah, you got like the Clark Rockefeller guy did that. He even got married to like a Harris and shit because of that. There was that other woman who just recently, I think, went to fucking jail, and she was doing that stuff.
Oh, the one who
Just
was pretending to have this miracle, like
oh, that's the Theranos woman. There was another woman. She also got in trouble for that shit. Not the same thing. It wasn't like a startup. She just used to. She was just scamming people, like taking their money. And then she ended up. I don't remember why she was arrested. But yeah, the
uh,
Theranos one was something else. That one is funny.
I'm just mad as like how why did it take so long for before anyone tested her shit, bro? She was claiming all this scientific advancement. I was like, not one of you
You know, it's. I
checked.
think people were already making claims that what she was saying made no sense. Like even back when she was like at her height, people were like, "This makes no
But I'm
sense."
saying like before she even got to her heights, like how did you get that far?
Like I think one of the things she used to do is she would have her little fake invention, take their blood, and then set like I forgot what she did. She would take more blood from them, but she had some reason, some lie that she told people where it was like, oh, it's just to like calibrate our machine or some shit. And she'd go send the blood to get tested for real. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah, no, I remember that's what she did.
yeah, so that's why whatever. People are stupid, man. People are
I
stupid.
just thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that's why you get man, that's why it's important to realize that just because someone seems like an authority does not mean they're infallible. Like it happens all the time. Doctors get tricked. People get tricked all the time. Because tricking someone is not about how smart they are or how much knowledge they have. It's literally about uh playing to their biases and their natural like personality set and inclinations. It's like when I was trying to tell you guys, I think you guys are saying, "Oh, I forgot." I think it was me and Ray were saying, like Ray was saying that he doesn't think he's the type who would like fall for some of these scams. And I was telling him, you don't understand though. There are scams built for the kind of people who don't fall for
See,
scams.
listen, I'm
Yeah.
not falling for these scams, bro. Come at me. No, what I mean is like there are certain scams I know I can't fall for because they just sound too fake. But I'm not saying it's impossible to scam me. Like it's not impossible. It's just some of them are just like, yo, I'm a Nigerian prince. All you need to do is send me money, so I send you $1 million. Come on, I'm not falling for that.
Yeah.
I'm not falling for that one. Like I don't think
Yeah.
there was any point in my timeline, like at any age, I'd believe some shit like that.
Yeah, but that scam is not built for you. That's built for love lost women who, you know, that's who that scam is built for, man.
And then
The
there's
scam is
always
the kind of
the
Or
IT
start.
scan. It's like, oh yeah, your antivirus is about to expire, but we renewed you if you want a refund, bro. The mere fact that this company is saying if you want a refund, you email me. No company is gonna say that you can get a refund. No company does that. If you accidentally like subscribe to
You have to go
something,
out your way.
yeah, they're not gonna be like, oh, we're gonna make this refund real easy for you. All you gotta do is no, come on. But
Now I was gonna say that
crazy.
I mean he said the scam that you mentioned about the prince from Nigeria is for women that's looking for love. I mean those are scams for just I feel like low level IQ people in general. Like
that's the thing.
there are typical scams that people tell you to watch out for. So
Bro, the smarter you
you
are,
can
the
avoid
easier
those
you
at
are to
least.
scam, bro. I swear.
Yeah, actually, that's true. That's
You don't have
actually
to you don't have to be able to read through,
because
like
one
that's
one of
pretty
the
simple.
because like it's funny, right? I was watching this. There's this guy who makes like anti-red pill content, but this shit is so stupid. I want to talk to you guys about this guy actually, because this guy had me dead. But I was trying to ask him what his problem with Coach Greg was. And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna have to wait like everybody else to see in my material." So I went and checked out his material, and he didn't have anything. All he had was like a compilation of Coach Greg saying funny stuff. And I guess that was supposed to prove that Coach Greg was stupid when most of the things in the video, all of it actually was Coach Coach Greg joking around, right?
Judge
And
Greg.
then there was another video where he was Coach. Apparently, he was claiming Coach Greg farted and tried to hide it. And I was like, "What the fuck?" Well,
Even if he did fart, who gives a fuck? That's a grown man.
scares me for it. But anyways, I
Some
was thinking,
people
it's
do.
funny
Like,
watching a live stream. If I was watching a live stream and the guy farted, I would just laugh, and I just thought I would think it was funny, right? But he accused me of not being skeptical because he was like, if you were skeptical, you wouldn't be a fan of what do you call it? Of 99% of this red pill stuff. And I was like, I don't even watch 99% of red pill stuff. I was like, I literally watch one guy who makes red pill content. And he's like, and he's probably the least red pill out of all of them. I was like, I don't watch any other red pill stuff, but nice try though.
That
And
guy sounds like he's just talking out his ass. He's just like,
yeah, he's a funny guy. I won't mention him yet. I want to beef with him later. I'll wait till we get a little bigger, and then we'll beef with him on purpose. Anyway, uh, So I was like, it's funny that he mentioned that because there are things that show like conspiracy theorists and even like anti-vax people. People accuse these people, flat earthers, all that stuff, of being stupid. But it turns out they actually tend to have higher IQs than the average person. Because what ends up happening is when you're a conspiracy theorist, you tend to make connections of things just all over. And one of the what do you call it? The abilities of someone who has a high IQ is they have a high ability to make connections. They're very good at making connections. So basically, their ability to make connections goes into like overdrive. And sometimes they'll make connections between things that aren't connected. Like they're just seeing connections that aren't there. But it's like their brain is literally built to do that, so they can't like stop it. So when they see something weird, they just can't accept that it's weird just because it's weird. They now have to find out why it's weird, and they'll start connecting things. So it turns out, like Ray said, the smarter you are, the more likely you are actually to see connections that aren't there, and like this whole idea that if you're smart, you're going to be super logical is not true. It's not true. You're probably going to be more prone to ideology the smarter you are, actually. Yeah. So that was a weird little aside, I guess, but it was just something I was thinking
yeah.
about. Anyways, guess we could talk a little bit about some of the stuff we've assembled here to talk about. So, did you guys hear about that? Ray mentioned this earlier before we started. That security guard who was clapping cheeks.
no, she was
No.
a cop. She was a
Oh,
cop.
sorry, not
It
security guard.
was
Cop who was clapping.
Security guards
Tennessee.
do be clapping cheeks though.
I think it was I think they were based in
Everybody.
Tennessee.
Everybody, bro. She was for the police station instead of for the streets. She's for the entire
She was
police
for a
station.
county, bro.
For the
Um,
county.
but yeah, let me see. Can I be a cop in Tennessee? Top Google search. What is?
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my god, you see that? She knows how to.
What happened? What happened,
Yo,
bro?
look in the Discord.
You sent it?
No, it's right
Nah,
here.
so it's in the stream, bro.
Yeah, bro. Look at this Discord. She knows how to ride. That's crazy. These men's is fast. These men's is fast. But what happened was, Jesse O'Neill, in a small Tallahassee police station, they were swingers, right? Like like Vanguard said, she was for the whole police station, and they would just, bro, like they would literally on and off duty, they would just be having these wild sex like parties. Some it started where they were like on this boat party, and then they were chatting about doing some stuff. She was like, she went up topless, partying, whatever. And then it just escalates from there. Like they were like doing things on and off the clock, which I think it only even like got out because they were doing stuff on the clock. Like I think if they were doing this behind closed doors, no one would have gave two rats asses, right? But turns out she's married. I don't know if the husband knew. I don't know. Like he could be into that, right? Like he could just be into.
Yeah, he's standing by her. He said.
Yeah, like he's staying with her. He's staying with her. So he might have known. He might have not known.
It's one thing if you're if it seems like he knew because that's weird. It's one thing if your wife cheats on you with one guy or something, right? You know, then
like,
you can
he
kind
had
of
to
get
know,
over
right? He had to know
Yeah.
the whole police station, my guy.
Yeah, because I was gonna say. Well, no, I mean you never know because you could be dating a girl for 5 years, she's fucking everyone you know, and you had no idea. But my point is, like your wife cheats on you with one person, you can kind of get over that. You can move on. You know, you can move on with your life.
Not me.
Yeah,
Couldn't be me.
yeah, it could be me, of course,
I
but
mean,
it's easier. But imagine,
yeah, like I can see what he's saying. He's like, if
Would've
it
let
was
that
a
shit
one
be, though.
mistake type thing, like I can see you like working it out, especially like depending on how long you were with someone. But when you find out that while she was at work, like she was riding everybody whose name, like, come on, bro,
she was doing the stuff. She was doing the stuff.
the whole station, bro,
She was
all
doing
around town.
Yeah.
Take Village Bicycle to a new level, guy.
Yeah, she was doing the stuff that you see in like all that like that cuckold porn stuff that you think would never happen. It makes no sense, and there she was doing that shit for real. You know, like that's crazy.
Had a train ran on her. It's crazy.
Literally, like that was some of the things, bro. I think there was like 8 fired and 3
That's one of
suspended.
the guys that gave it that work.
Bro, 1, 2, 3.
I mean, see,
probably
here's the
got a
thing.
guy over here. This guy.
I wouldn't
Here,
be
let me
surprised.
show you on stream because
What she look like,
That's the
man?
wrong
That's
one.
that white girl. It's that white girl. She don't even look bad.
Yeah, she wasn't that attractive. She was okay. She was like an
Yeah.
average looking woman. But
Here
I'm
we
telling you,
go.
it's those women.
No.
Those are the women who are always out there whoring themselves out. I'm telling you.
So yeah.
Like you would think.
This is Hall right here, right? Oh, her name is Megan Hall. I think I said the wrong name.
You
Megan
would think.
Hall. This is her right here. Some of the
Wait,
people that she slept with.
You're not
No
showing me.
hyphen.
You're not showing me anything. Oh, I see it now.
Here's the article, and I'm also showing the stream the same article. Right, like, this is the picture that everyone on the internet is using. Her eating this. What is it? What is
And
that?
she made a pledge, man.
Yo, look at that dry ass chicken.
Well, you got to go down. You're not showing us the thing that you're showing the
No,
stream.
bro, but like, look at this. Where is it? Look at this dry ass chicken. Yo, look at these uncooked string beans, bro.
Shit right now, bro.
Oh, look at these uncooked string beans, bro. They eating this shit.
Anyway,
school lunch.
Yo, that's crazy. Oh my god.
Anyways, what I was saying though is,
I'm dying. I'm sorry.
what I was gonna say was, fuck, what was it? Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if there were other women involved, but they just didn't get exposed because there's no way it was just her.
I mean,
I highly doubt.
I can see it being just
Who's for
that
the
one.
culture?
Yeah, like if she's down for the whole party, like why get more people involved if you don't need to? Like,
Wait, so she was the only one that lost her job?
no, I told you there's like 8
Oh.
fired and like 3 suspended.
Okay. I was about to say.
Like it was, and like, bro, I started seeing memes where it's like, Mom, can we get trains? It's like, now we got trains at home, and they would just show a picture of her and her people, and I just was confused. I was like, what kind of train is this? And then like I was like, oh, that kind of train.
I mean, I heard about it. I didn't see any of the memes. I just heard about the story.
I literally saw memes before I saw the news, and I was like, what?
Was that her?
This is her. It's her right here.
Yeah,
She look basic as hell, bro.
Look at that big ass smile on her face, bro.
I mean, why would she not have a big ass smile?
This what y'all
She
risk
is
got salaries
satisfied,
for,
bro. She is
This what y'all
completely
risk got salaries?
satisfied.
That's what
That's
I'm
crazy.
saying. Yeah, these men were willing to risk their salaries for anything, man. They
You
were
put
Oh
your
my
job on the
God.
line for that? Like, I understand if it was Jessica Alba, you know what I'm saying? Holly Berry, you know, the elegant types. You know what I'm saying?
You guys already know what's next for her, right? You know what's happening.
Yeah, she's gonna get a different job in a different police station and do the same thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, she's gonna make an OnlyFans account. That's a guarantee.
Oh man, she'd blow up on OnlyFans. She'd blow up on
I
OnlyFans.
mean, they might as well all get together, the people that got fired along with her, right? Just make some OnlyFans content.
See,
Have
nah,
them
like
cycle through in
the
and
guys
out.
can't be there. The guys can't be there. No,
No.
the guys can't be
They
there.
can't.
No, absolutely not.
She's gonna make an OnlyFans account, and these same people making memes, making fun of her, gonna go and subscribe to that account.
But that was the story of the week. Like it was wild how I literally out of nowhere. I'm just like, y'all doing this out here in Tennessee, bro?
Have you heard there's controversy with someone else recently?
Who?
A person that we all know and love. Justin Roiland, one of the creators of Rick and Morty. This guy,
Yeah, I had no idea who that is.
this guy,
This man said someone that we all know and love, and he don't even.
yeah, I know Justin Roiland. He actually lives in my neighborhood. No, I'm just playing.
Yo, who's just is he the voice of Rick? Is that
And Morty, yeah, and a lot of other.
You just
This man has a domestic violence claim against him, and like a hardcore one, like corporal. I think it was like
he has a
corporal
domestic? There's a domestic Reddit. Oh my god.
domestic
domestic
violence.
Reddit.
He's
You know we get all our news from Reddit. We don't get our news from anywhere else, honestly.
yeah. Oh, and now
I
he's
gotta
being
make a
accused
Reddit
of
account.
grooming. Yeah, he's been being accused of a lot of shit. Because like his fans, apparently he speaks inappropriately to fans and like says things to them, you know. And yeah, these are the messages. No one knows if they're real or not, but these are you know. So yeah, he's
Well, Rick and Morty's done for then.
Rick
pretty
and
much.
Morty's not done for, but they probably gonna remove him, and then I mean he was the voice. So
But that's what I'm saying. Can they? Is there like some kind of contract there, like
I have no
some
idea.
some kind of restriction against that?
I don't even think it's really his show. Like I think he went and created that show Solar Opposites because he didn't have as much influence on Rick and Morty. So I think
There's
he went
Solar
and
Opposites. There's Rick and Morty. He has his own game now called
yeah, that game looks retarded, by the way.
shit. What's it called? Fuck. What is the game called? It was just here.
Everyone I've seen talk about that game is always just like how it's fun for like 2 seconds. Yeah, they're like
High
Like a
on
lot of
Life.
things
That's
in
what it's
life.
called. It's High on Life. All the guns
they-
talk.
Oh yeah, I heard that was a fun game.
no. Everyone says it's fun for like 2 seconds, and it gets
Yeah,
it's
everyone I've seen
Nah.
reviewed is like the game isn't that bad, but you wish they would tone it down. They're like, yo, if you love Rick and Morty, you'll love the game. But if you have any apprehension to this kind of humor, don't play a game. And like, I won't even lie, like I was like, yeah, I'm not playing that game.
Me
Like
neither.
I don't want to have this gun that sounds like Morty talking to me 24. I don't want that.
I've heard the opposite. I know a couple people that's really enjoying that game.
Ask them how much they like Rick and Morty, and then it'll be revealed. It'll be revealed because like I could not sit there and have this blue one specifically. He is this gun. Justin Roiland is this gun, right? They already set up a sequel, or like they're teasing a sequel. I mean, that's just that's just garbage now because of this case. But I from what I've seen about the game specifically, I wouldn't have disliked the game. It's just I would not enjoy the comedy aspects of it. I would not sit here and do any of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing though is, we live in a world where they brought back Roseanne, and then she said something they didn't like, and they removed her from the show that was literally named after her. And
It
that
was
show,
like in the
happened?
90s, right?
that happened recently. They brought back Roseanne, her show.
When did that show come out? Like in the 90s, right?
Oh yeah, the original came out in like the 90s, but they brought back the show, had her on there. She says something, they say it's racist, and they
Didn't she
remove her
literally
from
say the N-word? Didn't she literally call
No.
someone the N-word? Who was that
No.
then? Was that Rachel? Not Rachel Ray. Some other Rachel, I think, said like just called someone straight up the N-word.
I know the guy from Seinfeld called a heckler at his stand-up performance. That word.
Yeah. Well, basically, Roseanne.
My son Kramer, man, he wild out.
She said some woman looked like she was from Planet of the Apes, and the woman just happened to be black.
Oh, that's it. That's
looking.
it.
Yeah,
Man.
and they got mad at her, said she was racist, even though she was like, there were no racial connotations. And when you look at the woman she accused of looking like, the woman did look like In my personal opinion, I was like, I can see what you say. I was like, this really does look like a character from the Planet of the Apes. That's what I said. Like, yo,
Is
you
this
do
her?
look
Is this
like
the lady she called?
well,
Oh,
show it to me.
oh
You're not
yeah.
showing
Hold
it.
on. I'm showing
Sent
it
it
to the wrong. I'm showing
two
it to just
times.
to myself. Was it this lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up though. I ain't gonna lie. This era we in,
What?
you gotta
She
take off the
does.
head.
She does.
Yeah, but that's something you say behind closed doors, man.
Roseanne's
That's
a
not
comedian.
that's
She
not supposed
says
to leak
stupid
out,
shit all
man.
the time. Yo, look at
You look just
Yo,
like her.
yo.
Like cut off the extra hair around the side of the
I'm not
face.
gonna put this on the stream because I'm not trying to get Roseanne. But
I'm
oh
not
my
trying to get
good,
Roseanne.
oh my
It's
good.
funny. It's like, yeah.
This
So like
this
when
is
she
this
said
is the most
that,
accurate insult I've ever seen in my life.
yeah. So what she said, I was like, I don't understand why it's racist. It's true, right? But yeah, she gets removed from her own show,
Like if she was talking
and
about this nigga over here, that's crazy.
then they renamed the show. They renamed the show The Connors.
Was
And
that
so
their
like it's
last
crazy.
name? Bro, you know how popular Roseanne is? I did not know the family's last. I didn't know that was
Yeah,
their last name.
and they removed her, and the show went on without her. So
You know
I
what I'm
don't know,
saying?
man.
Without Roseanne.
They will find a way probably to remove the guy from Rick and Morty. Who knows how they'll do it? Probably just find a guy who vaguely sounds like Justin Roiland and just have him do the voices. No one cares.
No one cares.
Yeah, really, no one cares. No one will even fucking notice. I guarantee. Or they'll make a big fuss about it for a little bit and then move on. So yeah, man, he got accused of domestic violence. I can't say whether or not he did it. I have no fucking clue. I wasn't there.
I don't
So,
know. I don't know. That's all I can say. I don't know.
but I mean, it's not like I haven't been watching Rick and Morty anyway. That
Yeah,
show.
bro. The amount of times people like, "Oh my god, remember this in Rick and Morty season 3?" I'm like, nigga, I haven't seen
That's why
season
when
2, bro.
you said someone we all know and love, I'm trying to think. Were you being sarcastic with that? Cause
Yeah,
who?
I was being
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
sarcastic.
he knows I don't watch that shit. Do you watch that shit?
I'm like, no, I've seen like maybe the first season. I thought it was good humor, but not nothing
I
for
feel
me to
like they
like keep
jumped the
on
shark in the
watching.
second
I
season,
mean,
so I just
it
after
jumps the
second
shark.
season I didn't watch it anymore. I was like,
It
this
jumps
isn't
the
it.
shark. It starts
That
trying
Mr.
to.
Meeseeks episode had me crying. I'd say that one,
That's
but
one of their best episodes. Like I
yeah,
think outside of that episode, like you only need to see that. That's a very good episode, the Mr. Meeseeks episode.
yeah. And the episode where Morty tells Rick to make him a potion or something, so like all the girl that
Oh,
he wants to
love.
like him, and then everyone starts liking him, guys and girls. That was
See, that's
hilarious.
actually around the time the show jumps the shark. Because, he gets that potion. Well, no, that's not when they jump the shark. That introduced the concept that allows them to jump the shark.
Yeah,
Because they really dug that stupid hopping from reality to reality thing into the ground. They really ruined the concept. Um, but it's
Oh
like I
yeah,
always say,
they ended up destroying that universe and they have to go to another one, right? That's what happens.
yeah, that's when you first learn about the whole that Rick just travels from universe to universe thing. Um, but the thing is, like I always say, Rick and Morty is just a poor man's Futurama anyway. So I always like,
those are not even comparable. I mean, Futurama has such a diverse cast of characters that all
yeah,
provide some kind of humor.
yeah, that's the thing. And Rick and
Rick and
Morty is
Morty
just
is
a
just
bunch
those
of
two that they play well off each other.
they don't
Yeah,
even play well. They're
yeah,
just being mean to each other
yeah. I
all the
don't think
time.
they do.
You know, yeah.
They're
I
just
mean,
mean to each other all the
for
time.
those that like it, you know, they like that dynamic.
For those who like
Yeah,
it, yeah, I guess, bro. Like
Yeah.
I just got
people,
tired. I
people,
got tired of it. I was like, yo,
yeah,
like everyone just sucks. Like every character here sucks. Like they're all just bad people.
Yeah,
Like
nobody cares about Morty's family. I mean, nah, yeah,
like
nobody
bro,
really
no
cares
one
about
cares
Morty's
about
family.
anyone. I'm like, y'all are somehow a family. Like Jerry used to at least want to like protect his family and keep them
Yeah,
together, but later just I don't know. Like I don't know what's going on with him. Beth is just the worst person to exist. Beth is literally the
yeah.
worst person. She is literally
People,
she's beyond a bad person. Like
yeah, and
scum is
people,
not a good enough word for Beth.
yeah, people are just like, wow, look, they're saying the F bomb 3 times in the span of 5 seconds. That's so cool. It's so real, so raw. Because they're cursing.
Summer's just stupid. Oh my god.
Heads are exploding. Heads are exploding. Isn't that cool, guys? Look at those heads exploding. That stuff doesn't happen in cartoons. Wow. That's pretty much the consensus on why Rick and Morty is so. Oh yeah, actually, there's the other thing, nihilism. Ooh, yeah, that's so cool. If you're smart, you just have to look around and think there's no meaning in anything because you're smart. that's how it works. Even though, like I said, there's literally enough evidence to show the exact opposite. The smarter you are, you actually try to find meaning in everything. To be honest.
What show y'all like better, regular show or Adventure Time?
I personally like Adventure Time more.
I haven't seen Adventure Time, but
I haven't watched enough of Adventure Time. I've watched a lot of it, but I watched regular show much more often, so I would be biased.
Like
Adventure Time
regular
is
show.
Go ahead.
Not go on. What are you saying?
No, I was gonna say Adventure Time is more so focused on like is it similar to regular show? Like
No.
it's mainly focuses on two characters, but it has some side characters in between.
No, Adventure Time in the beginning it does focus a lot on Finn and Jake's little like escapades, right? Because it's setting up the world building. Then it really hones in on Finn and Jake because you're like learning who they are. But after that, like they branch off and you start like learning a lot more about the other kingdoms and the other people. And then like there are some times where like Finn and Jake they're not the important part of the episode most times actually. Like they are just there.
But
there's a lot of deep concepts in Adventure Time too. Like
speaking of another person who, in recent times has become mired in controversy. What do you guys know about JK Rowling?
She made Harry Potter and then she said some stuff about trans people and now she's a TERF.
Yeah, they fucking hate her now.
They despised her.
Yeah, she made a bunch of comments of I think they're calling her racist now. I don't know
She
why.
racist now?
Yeah, I think they started calling her racist.
What does that woman look like, real quick?
JK Rowling.
I've always heard of the name.
This is what she looks like.
Never knew what she looked like.
Well, the thing with JK Rowling, right? Her being accused of being a transphobe because she believes in the idea of there being real women and real men, right? And like trans people, in her opinion, trans women should not be given the same credence or I guess level of protections that women are given. And a feminist, this is actually consistent with feminist ideology. A lot of feminist ideology, at least for most of the 60s and 70s, like in 80s, they wanted protections for women because they felt women were often abused and battered. So of course, it would follow for them to say, yeah, we don't want the what do you call it? We don't want the umbrella term being extended to men so that they could invade spaces that were meant for women. This would make sense. So to try and act like they're these radical psychopaths when they're literally just following the logical extension of their own ideology is just kind of weird to me. But I think this got me thinking about how this whole thing about gender is really annoying to me because both sides don't want to admit that it's like both sides are modern ideology. So yeah, obviously, obviously there is.
All right, no, this is pretty funny. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but this line right here, this is pretty funny.
What did she say? Just say.
I highlighted it for you.
You see, where is it?
It's highlighted in the thing.
I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wimbod.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
I mean, you got it. Cause like, did you see that thing with what's her name? What's her name again? AOC. She's on a thing and she's like, because I'm ministrating persons, and I'm like, ministrating persons. Like, how shit like that is goofy. Like, George Carlin is one of the most liberal people on the face of this fucking planet, right? You can probably call him a radical leftist with some of his more out there ideas. If he was alive today and he saw they were out here using the language ministrating persons to refer to women, he would think that was the goofiest shit on the planet. He would think that shit was so stupid. He would make a bit about it. He'd make a bit about
There's 11 Harry Potter books, bro.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
I haven't even read one of them. Isn't that hilarious?
And she had
They're all
a
like
lot of time. She
this
had a lot of
thick
time to
too, right?
herself, huh?
Goddamn.
No, the first ones aren't that big. But the ones after are fucking thick as hell. But this whole gender discussion is really weird to me because so like obviously there's a general idea. There is a biological, well, what's the word I want to use? Differentiation, right? There are men and there are women. This is on a biological level. This exists, right? Or at least you can say there are biological differences between these two types of organisms, and we interact with them and have labeled them as men and women, right? Like there are clearly two distinct organisms that we are speaking about, right? Or classifications. So it's okay to classify in every single other species or classify different species to separate them from the other. But apparently, when it comes to doing that with humans, it becomes this weird thing, and now it becomes an ideological battle. So, like the people who support the idea that biology matters in regards to gender, they don't want to admit that they're speaking from a place of ideology because they are. A lot of them are speaking typically from like religious thing, or if they're not speaking from a religious thing, they're speaking from the idea that you know that biological sex is important and we should actually consider it, which is still an ideological thing. It's not like this like people have this weird thing where they want to act like whenever they're arguing something, they're arguing from complete fact, like only their the words out of their mouth and the things in their head are fact. They don't have any biases or ideological what's the word I'm looking for? Um they don't have any ideology, right? They're always arguing from fact. And then on the other side, the people who support the idea that gender is a spectrum, they try to act like there's like all this science supporting them when there fucking isn't. There's like no science supporting the idea that gender is a spectrum. Like there's just none, right? I mean, well, it depends. There's a lot of social science that talks about the idea of gender existing as classification and like gender expression, and it's something created by society. But my point is like in terms of when it comes to like sex different differences, there is no science that supports the idea that there's no such thing as men or women. Like this science does not exist. Like when they'll try to prove this shit, they'll be like, oh, well, there's intersex people, and it's like, well, those people are a small percentage. It's like, oh yeah, there's intersex people. Like using intersex people to try and prove your argument that I guess sexuality is like this, or that sex and sexuality are one and the same.
1.7% of the population has intersex trait.
Yeah, so to use intersex people to say that, it would be like I'm trying to think of a fucking comparison that would be equivalent. It would be like saying, hmm, it would be like if we were to redesign our entire education system around like the around what is normal for an autistic child because there are a certain amount of autistic people out in the world. Like it makes no sense. It's not something you should do. So I don't know that part of this discussion always boggles my mind that they just can't really reach the idea that that they're that it's like they're both arguing different things. I don't know how to explain it. You guys know what I'm trying to get at here?
Yeah, you're just a horrible person.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I can be friends with you anymore for your opinions.
Sure. Okay. Well,
Wouldn't
you
be the
can't. You don't
first.
have to be.
Wouldn't be first.
You don't have to be friends with me. You can be friends with the other me because my pronouns are they them. Yeah.
More fuel into the fire.
You know what I told the girl once? You know what I told this girl once that had her dying, and she was of that community of like the LGBT.
LGBT.
Whatever the fuck they call themselves.
The
Right?
upgraded
Has
version,
no type of
bro.
respect.
Oh my
No type of
god.
respect.
I killed her once. I forgot what I said. It was something. It was another variation of that same joke. It was something like I was like, I think I said something like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "If we get into a fight, it'll be like you're getting jumped because my pronouns are they them." And then she thought that shit was funny. And she was one of those people, and she thought it was funny. Those people. That's always a great way to refer to a person. Those people. But yeah, I don't know why this thing is so important to people. I don't know. Like it just I don't even really think about it that often. Like whenever I do
Sounds like you
think
do.
about it,
Sounds like you have
it'll be
lots of thoughts about it, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you over here thinking
Yeah.
about the arguments on both sides of the
You out here
spectrum.
contemplating about this shit, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, if I do
and if
that
those
with every
arguments make sense.
I do
Yeah,
that with every
it's not even specific to a topic. That's just more of like argument structuring.
Yeah, yeah, I actually do think a
Yeah,
lot about
you think
arguments.
more about argument structuring rather than the topic itself.
Yeah, I'll think more about structure and argument than the
That
actual
shit bothers the fuck out of me. Like we get
because
low instead of focusing on the topic at hand. We're like, nah, see, this is where you messed up in your argument. This had a hole.
yeah,
This is
because
where you
how are
have to
you
have a
supposed
better
to have
argument.
direct conversation and discussion if the other person? Because here's the thing we gotta understand, right? In the world we exist in today, there are arguments that are so bad, and they've been so bad for a long time that a long time ago they created a list of the common terrible arguments that existed.
But it's
And they
like
were-
when remember when in math class
yeah,
your teacher would ask you to solve this problem, and then after you solve it, like it wasn't just enough to show them the right answer. Like you had to show how you got to that answer. So that's the
yeah,
type of shit you do. You're not content with somebody just saying a point that is probably valid, but they just don't have the strong argument behind it to come to that conclusion. You don't have a problem with the conclusion. You have a problem with how they got to that conclusion.
yeah. That's actually very important. Ask any scientist, and they will agree with me that that is very important. It is
I feel
important.
like a lot of people don't argue in that way. A lot of people argue just to get to that conclusion, get that conclusion out, not how they got to it. You know,
See, but how you get
they
there
don't care about
does
that.
matter.
Yeah, it is
Right?
very important. The procedure.
Even if the other person you're arguing with recognizes
Not
that
because
that's probably a valid point.
Not because the thing is, the reason why it's important, the procedure of how you got there, is because you could have gotten there by luck. So you have to know how you got there in order to make sure that you got there for the
Also,
correct
it could be a
reasons.
thing. It's like, well, if you don't truly understand what I am saying to you, but you're like, all right, good point. Like, you will just fall into the same traps when a similar type of situation shows up. You know, where like
Yeah.
because like a lot of the times, if I'm like trying to make you see a point, it's not because this very specific answer is the correct answer. It's so that like you understand like what I'm coming from, what I'm like talking about in the situation. It's not like Netflix is red because XYZ, and was like, there's a whole thing about it. You
Yeah.
know,
So like yeah, when it comes to the gender stuff, it's like cuz like people will say things and I'll think in my head, that's not why you really don't like it. I'll find myself agreeing with the leftists sometimes. Like I remember, for example, I was watching these people argue, and I was doing exactly what EJ is accusing me of. So ultimately, I agreed with the people that were arguing against the other person, but I felt their argument made no sense because they were like, "Oh, these kids should not be being exposed to LGBTQ stuff, blah blah blah." But then I was like, but I mean, you're fine with your kids watching this other kind of stuff. And I was like, kids are exposed to so many other things and no one complains about that stuff. I was like, why would it matter if they're exposed to that LGBTQ stuff? And I agreed with what they were saying. I just felt like they
The
weren't
wrong
expressing
reasons.
it
Yeah,
correctly. Yeah. I was like, I mean, if your kids are exposed to because like if your kid is sitting there watching The Walking Dead and they're slicing zombie heads off, you don't get mad that they're being exposed to all this excessive gore and
yeah.
cursing and sexual situations, but you're mad that they're being exposed to, certain sexual
So
ideas.
so so let me ask you a question. Where does these kind of people rank in your eyes to you when it comes to like going back to the whole argument structuring? Do you
these kinds
like
of
let's say you
people.
get to a I'm not talking about trans people, by the way. Don't try to put me
See,
into that.
I ain't even put a name to a face,
Okay,
but
continue what you were trying to say.
Before I was kindly interrupted.
kindly.
Kindly. It's sarcasm. I'm saying sarcasm. Um. So yeah. So let's say you get into an argument, right? With someone, and they're clearly disagreeing with you, but like you were able to connect the dots, so to speak, with their argument, and you were able to see how they got there, and you actually thought that it was logical, and aside from it being logical, you respected it, you know, like you respect, even though you still disagree with their conclusion, you still
Yeah.
respect what how the process and how they got there. So
And
where does that person compare to a person that you agree with, but you don't respect how they got to their conclusion at all,
actually
even though
respect
you agree with them.
I respect the person who got there in a very logical way and their things make sense and are concise.
Even though you guys don't agree for shit.
Yeah, I respect
Wow.
them more than the person who
Wow.
just got there for no reason and what they're
Yeah.
saying doesn't make any sense. And it's funny you mentioned that because I run into that kind of shit all the time. I think I said it in one of our discords where I was like, I'm willing to accept almost any position if the person can explain it to me in a way that makes sense. If I look at their logic is consistent and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm just like, okay, well, that's what you believe? Oh, sure. Like that. But then if you say some shit to me and it makes no fucking sense, or you contradict yourself right after, that shit will piss me off. Like it doesn't matter if you agree with me or anything. And I learned that the hard way because you would meet people who agree with you. And then you realize after you discuss with them the topic at hand that they agree with you on, that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, or they agree with you for a completely irrelevant reason that, doesn't make any sense.
And that reason that that different reason that you guys don't agree, like you guys agree, but that reason that you guys get to that conclusion differently is so pivotal to you because you look at it as like this is not somebody that I could respect if they it's basically like an artist, like some type of professional, like that crafted something, but like they kind of took the shortcut route. That's how I feel like that's how you value that. You know, it's like, damn, I actually came to this through taking the harder road, like actually thinking about this at length, as opposed to someone that just took the shortcut or easy route and they were able to get there. So it's like I don't value that process. I don't value how they got there.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's how you have to think of things
Yeah.
because it's like we live in a world of NPCs. And when I say this, typically when you hear the word NPC, it's used by people on the right, right? And they'll be accusing many people on the left of NPCs, but there are just as many NPCs on the right as there are on the left. And I say I'm not a moderate by any means. I am not a moderate. I'm not a moderate. I have very distinct beliefs and ideas that would make me lean more towards the conservative side, but I would not say I'm a hardline conservative or a Republican whatsoever. Um, but like people like are taught these or they hear these ideas and they just parrot them. Like there's so many times I hear, especially within the gender stuff, you'll
But
hear
that
say something and you could tell not just by how they're saying it, but like by how it'll match something word for word. They'll hear a phrase and repeat it, and they'll just repeat that shit all the time. It'll be something they learned from some talking head or they saw it in some article, and they'll just accept that and they'll repeat it to you as if it's an argument when it's not. Like they'll just say something that's clearly a slogan and not
I
not.
get that. I get what you're saying with that. Like that's also problematic, but I feel like even if it's something that's outrageous, like an outrageous ideology, um, that someone has, like it depends on issue to issue. Like there are some issues where like if you're having like a philosophical debate or something that I mean philosophical debates can have a they have a larger impact on the world or at life. But something that doesn't really an argument that doesn't really impact the world too much. You can like sit there and examine how they structure their arguments. But when it comes to like a larger issue, right? Like when we're talking about like legal policies or the way society is formed or
Well,
the
see, that's the thing
like
because
the things that have a larger impact. Real quick, I'm just finish this point. When they get to that conclusion, like it's not just okay, yeah, like you structured your argument really well. This conclusion can have a very damaging impact. So it's like I can't just sit there and be like, okay, even if like you're somebody that you just argue for a living and you know how to deliver your points, but it's like you're still someone that's insane to me because you got to this conclusion. And because of that conclusion, like I can't sit there and be around you. Like there's literally people that divide themselves from other people because of that conclusion, that belief system that they still have in place, no matter how much of an intellectual they are in presenting that point. It's just
So
a conclusion that they will not accept.
just because
You know?
someone argues something well and they come to the wrong conclusion doesn't mean that they're right or anything, right?
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't mean they're
Yeah.
right.
you can have a really well structured argument and be completely batshit insane. Like I can literally sit here and explain to you how 1+1 = 3. I could do it, right? But like if you like really break it down, there would be like one logical inconsistency there. But if you're not like privy to it, you just won't notice, right? Like there's
Yeah.
that. Like it's like a famous meme now. Like you can look it up to like see like 1 = 2, or like you can do it for like anything.
But let's
But
use that example that you were saying, 1+1 = 3, right? Let's say the consequences of believing that means that the world ends or a lot of people die by following that belief system. So it's like, oh yeah, like he kind of made a logical point, but I want to live. You know, I value my life.
see, that's what I'm
I
trying
can't
to
be
say.
around this
Like
person.
just because they made a logical, like
Yeah.
they took some
You don't have to
logical
accept
steps,
it.
yeah, like you don't have to believe them. And this is the point where you can just like point out, it's like, hey, great points, except XYZ, your whole thing's wrong. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like you can always try, hopefully, to make them see how even if they take these logical steps, they're not reaching the correct conclusion. Because just because something is logical doesn't mean it's right. Like
Yeah.
that's the real point I'm trying to say. Just because
That's a misconception. That's the misconception.
yeah,
people
just
have,
because
though.
something like is logical
Yeah.
does not mean it is correct. Especially like when you like live in a society, like you can say, hey, technically XYZ, but it's like, yeah. But we live in a society with like ABC, so
Really? Sorry about that.
so it doesn't make any sense. And that's where a lot of people like stem their arguments, where they'll try to look at things in like this very tiny closed bubble, and you're like, yo, bro, you're not just in this bubble. Like you are in this larger organism. Like
Yeah,
you
that's
can't do
where
that.
this whole that's what happens with this whole trans issue. It's like basically they create these communities for themselves and they have their ideas and they want their ideas to be replicated or reflected in the larger world. But that makes no sense. It makes no sense for your personal identity to have such a large impact on the larger world. That's not how the world works. You know, like this is not how it works for anyone. That's just not how things should work. If the world worked like that, then how the hell are we going to function as a society, right? If we had to sit there thinking about the individual circumstances and ideas and beliefs of every single person before we did it, right? It's like, because like even when you, because like, of course there are general sexualities and general gender identities, but like when you really start to look into some of these gender identities, it can get really crazy and really wonky really fast. There are some
And
really out there
and
ideas.
that's what I'm referring to as far as like the conclusion part of it, because like these consequences are like, this is not just like, all right, you won an argument. Like in a lot of ways, if these people were to occupy important positions and bring those ideologies into them, like the world is life is drastically different, so like it's important to, probably even more important. I know you focus on the argument structuring side of it, but that consequence part
Well,
of
see,
like what that is very important, even more important.
yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't like. I 100% agree that like even let's say so like if a Nazi were to sit there and provide me an actual logically consistent, very coherent argument, I still wouldn't want that Nazi in the government, controlling my
Yeah,
like it doesn't matter if I think what he said made sense. And again, just for clarification, because some people are retarded. Even if I think what he said makes sense does not mean I agree with it. You can think something makes sense and not agree with it. You're just like, okay, there are bits of this that kind of make sense. Or this is kind of like a logically consistent idea. Like, for example, one of my major things with Thanos is people typically say that Thanos, what he was saying makes sense. If you're not retarded, it actually doesn't. What he was saying made no sense.
Well,
But like you look
depends on
at
what you
Thanos,
mean by what he's saying, because he's right. There are too many people. How he
oh yeah,
goes about it is wrong.
the
Like,
first part, yes, but his solution to it makes no sense,
yes,
right?
anyone who says
But
the
if you look at
solution is right is dumb.
So Thanos is a perfect example, right? What he was saying about the larger world and how we don't have a means to support the growing influx, right? What he's saying makes sense, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with him that we should just start like killing people or some shit to solve the problem, right? It's like no, you still would have a different idea of how you solve it. Um, but yeah, it's like that's actually part of the issue now, in which many people now get mad about this gender stuff, is because you have people who are in positions of power who now kind of want to, let's say, shape policy and shape society in a way to what's the word to be consistent with a lot of these gender ideologies. And that's the part where it makes no sense, where you can't do stuff like that because like I said, some of these genders are so specific, or at least these gender expressions are so specific, it would make no sense to shape our entire society around them. Like when you have things like where they're like, we shouldn't be able to make certain jokes. It's like no, that you should be able to express yourself in terms, especially in the realm of comedy. Because even if you want to go outside of, because then whenever liberals want to now denigrate comedy, or they'll be like, oh, he just wants to be able to make sexist jokes. But no, when you look at it from a larger perspective, right? There's a tradition of comedians going back to the ancient days, like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, where these comedians were often the sole, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know that phrase, who guards the guardians? Like, who's watching the watchers, kind of like who's watching the watchmen? Often that would be comedians. Back in those days, playwrights, right? Who would make satires and parodies and these kind of things, pointing out how the people ruling us are doing the wrong things, or they're being petty, or policies don't make any sense. So like when you want to now take something like comedy and shift it to your own specific ideology, that's where it's like, no, you shouldn't be able to do stuff like that. So like that's where I can coexist with you even if you know, if we like disagree very like hotly on something. I can coexist with you, but it doesn't mean that I want you like controlling any aspects of my life. Doesn't mean I'll be
Having
around
any
you.
real power. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that we can coexist, and that's where now, and that's where the problem comes because it's like, all right, so if you have like it's like you can't trust anybody to be unbiased. So how do you have an arbiter who can now make it so that so many people can coexist without influencing each other too much? You get what I'm saying? That's a problem we still to this day have not solved. Like we don't know how to create that kind of society. You know. I don't know. You guys got anything you want to say?
Uh,
No, just that was it.
yeah, I mean, you're right. That's been a lifelong debate about who guards the Guardians. Remember when I showed you that Metal Gear video
Yeah.
where it was about that, like the controlling of the media, um, like what information we receive, how to verify certain sources. Who does that, that the information process in terms of like how like the people that it goes through before we actually get access to it and it being filtered out and it being so many layers to it, but about showing that there's this agenda that it ultimately comes down to that these large corporations are trying to push, or even if you take it to a political level, um, about what is seen and what is left out, and like how do you go about bringing in, like as you said, an arbiter or someone to mitigate that. Um, it's
And
You
it's a
can't.
tough
naturally,
task.
naturally, that's supposed to be the role of the government, but it they often don't do that. They're very biased, so you
Yeah.
I
can't, you
mean,
can't even be.
people in general are biased, so
Yeah,
it's just impossible.
yeah, it's literally impossible. There
I
will
mean,
never be.
Metal Gear solution was have the
Let
AI
AI do it.
control
Yeah,
over, because AI doesn't have any
but then,
emotion and
but
it
then
can it
wasn't
can
the
process information
but
logically.
then wasn't the
Yeah,
irony in it that the AI was also biased?
they had
Well,
an
yeah,
agenda too. Yeah,
AI will be inherently biased because they were made by a biased person. Like they were made by a
Exactly.
biased system. So, but we've literally even seen that, like in today's society. Whenever they released the chatbot, before a GPT, they would just come out and say the wildest shit, bro. The wildest, racist, nastiest shit. Why? Because they're like, yo, let's train it on the internet. And you know what the internet's full of? People saying the most vile things you've never heard of in your life. So
They have
the
anonymity to say it.
yeah. So when the chatbots are trained on the internet, like purely just straight up like, all right, just look at the internet and tell me like what is human society like. It'll show you. It'll show you really fucking quick.
Yeah.
It'll show you fucking quick. It's like yes, like you guys want to say this shit because no one's watching it, and hell, that just means y'all want to say this shit.
Like
Y'all
you know
just
how
get in trouble for it.
there's a checks and balances when it comes to like the American government, right? Like you got the executive
You
branch.
believe that shit, bro? You believe in that shit?
I
Checks
mean,
and balances. There's a
whether I
theoretical
believe
check
it
and
or not,
balance.
that's what's in place theoretically, right? But like there has to be something like that in place for even for other areas of life. Exactly when it comes to like the veracity behind information,
Well, see,
um, and being able to check and balance other things that exist, right?
see, that's the thing, right? It's crazy because so like like what you just said, people try to do that. You know, you'll try to make some fact checking source or anything like that, but the moment you give some kind of body that level of power, then they inevitably giving them
Manipulated.
that power, they can now shape the information, and their biases now create bias. So
Yeah,
it's like this self perpetuating problem. Wherever you make a solution, it now adds to the problem. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
fucking insane. It's hilarious. It's hilarious that like on one hand you want to say okay maybe you just stop solving the problem, but then if you stop trying to solve the problem can get out of hand. So it's like okay you got to
right.
keep
It grows.
trying. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to
Ultimately,
keep
there's
trying
just
until
problems that you have to accept that there will be problems that you just have to accept.
yeah
Yeah,
you just have to keep going right.
Just like the solution to this problem would make worse problems, so it's better to just have this one.
Yeah.
And that's a very hard concept for people to grasp.
yeah, because humans
Yeah, but when you
just
when you
objectively are flawed. So
yeah, exactly. When you look at the whole gender debate thing, right? It's like neither side wants to accept that like what Ray just said, that there will be just some things that one, there will be some things that you're just not gonna agree with people on. It's just gonna be hard to agree with certain people on things. You just let them be. Right? That's the first part that people just cannot get into their fucking heads. They just cannot accept it. Right? And then the other thing about it is like each side thinks there's some crusader fighting some war. And they're all that stands
That is
between
true.
humanity and destruction.
That is sadly true. It's really a us versus them, and it's like, who the fuck is them, bro? And who's us even? Like, who are
why
you?
were you fighting?
Yeah, when in actuality it's much more of a nuanced thing. Like I will agree, right? Like again, it's not like a complete down the middle kind of thing. Like when it comes to this whole gender uh like when you want to say gender normativity, which is what well, heterosexual normativity, right, is what people in the LGBTQ plus society would say exist. And I would agree with them. That does fucking exist among most people because most people are heterosexual. Unfortunately, it's just not unfortunately, just that's
It's
just a
just
fact of life.
it's
Most
just
people are
it's just what's there,
heterosexual.
bro.
So society will shape itself in the way that most people are, That's just how it is. Like we walk around wearing suits and ties because that was a European concept. That's how you dress it here in America, or how Europeans dress. So we're gonna dress that way. If we went somewhere else, they'll dress another way. This is how things work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then on one hand, if you want to look at the other side where it's like do too many of these attempts to now fight back against the heteronormativity. Does it seem to be infesting Hollywood and infesting a lot of fiction? Yes, it is. like when you just looking at the fiction, you do see it happen very often, and it does seem to be. It is annoying. It is an annoying thing when
Yeah,
you're watching something and you notice this agenda being pushed in there.
Especially since it is an actual agenda. when it is in the Hollywood setting, because it's like they don't care about your issues. They just want your money, and they feel if they like, oh, trans people want to see more trans characters. I'll make a trans character, but it's going to be written by someone who's probably not trans, who probably gives zero shits about whatever message you're trying to like convey properly. So you'll get the worst caricature of a trans person in your media.
Or the other alternative is it's written by someone who's trans, but they let the whole idea of it being trans completely like
Yeah,
what's
be immersed. Yeah.
yeah, immerse the character, and that's like the only important thing about the character, which is just an uninteresting
So
character.
it makes you
Mhm.
question, is that actual representation,
It's not.
right, for
It
that
is not.
community?
It's tokenism. It's tokenism.
Yeah.
It's always
So
tokenism. Bro,
yeah,
you know how many sassy black friends have been in media? Bro, I hate that shit. Because it's always the same bitch, bro. She's like 5'5", built like a basketball, and
yeah,
she's just like,
yeah. That shit
bro,
is.
like, who is that even? I don't know a single person who's actually like that. Or at
Let
least
me
I
see.
didn't. But now, because it's so
Women
fucking
are
common,
modeling their
people are trying to
personality.
pretend to be that way.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Because
goofy.
they take something that should be a side note of that character and they make it the center of them, like what you're saying, they're immersed in that. Like, okay, let's say they're like using the trans example, let's say they're trans, but they got to be so much more than that. Like, we're all heterosexual. Well, I don't know about Gio, what I'm saying, he different, but what I'm saying, he be getting caught up in men's physiques and stuff. I could never, but but
Are
anyways,
you?
anyways, like, like if all that we had to offer was us being heterosexual and there was nothing else about our character, like, that would be meaningless,
It
that's
absolutely
all that
is.
we could, what I'm saying? Like, there has to be something else that is drawing attention to that person
It
rather than just
absolutely
their
is trash.
sexuality.
Because,
And
like I
even if
said,
you want to, yeah.
go on.
I was gonna say, even if you want to go outside the whole sexuality thing, right? Like, let's say I designed a character, and the whole thing was that they were extreme, and that was like the only
Yeah,
aspect of the personality that I focused on. Then you would rightfully call that a one note character. Like, they would not be very interesting. Like, this is just an extreme person who's just extreme. They like doing extreme things. They express themselves in an extreme way. They
yeah.
got extreme hair. It's like
But then again, you do have characters that do serve a singular purpose, right? Like, they're not really, known for too many things, like Quagmire, right? Known for picking up chicks.
See,
what
it's
is a
funny that you
character?
said that. Because that's a fucking comedy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's not even just that. They're meant to portray a certain point. So, like, if you take Quagmire, for example, he's meant to be a pervert and
yeah,
fill in the role for those perverted jokes. Now, if I make a trans character and are they only there just to be a trans person, then it's like, okay, you can say it's representation, but is it really? If they're just this one note
yeah.
trans, they don't represent any actual people. They represent this idea, I guess, that
Also, that
trans people
idea
exist.
that like someone's like a one note character, it usually persists in things like comedy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like Vanguard said, it's like they exist for me to be able to make these types of jokes. And
Yeah.
that's it. Like Quagmire is only a pervert because he will be in those weird, awkward, perverted situations. Like
Yeah.
he will have no business being somewhere, but if they need a pervert to exist in for this joke, Quagmire will spawn in, and just because he's there, because he is the resident pervert.
Yeah. But
And
you know what yeah, go ahead.
no, not go on. Fine.
Yeah, the funny thing about a character like Quagmire and even Peter, right? See, Quagmire is supposed to be the pervert, right? And like when you look at Joe, a character like Joe is he's meant to be the cripple, like they use him for a lot of their cripple jokes, right? But the funny thing is, those characters by necessity had to evolve and become more than what they were. Like you look and there'll be episodes where you learn
Yeah,
more about Quagmire, where
that's
Quagmire has to
true.
fill other roles. Like
Yeah.
they had no choice. You look at early episodes of Family Guy, Quagmire had nothing else to him but the fact that he was a pervert.
But
Yeah.
Well, you
but
look
some people liked it that way. Like when they started using the evolution of them, like putting them in different situations, and like seeing them like evolve and seeing the, like you said, the other parts, the other sides to them that exist. People were like, yeah, I liked when he was just coming in for a split second and saying giggity. Like I don't like this like this. This is too much.
But if they didn't do that, then it would
Yeah.
become a situation where it's like
Stagnant.
there's 15 seasons of that bitch, bro. Come on, like how many times can I write a joke where he's just like giggity? Like, come
It
on.
reminds me of a long time ago. I still might make this video one day, where I wanted to make a video kind of touching on what Ray was talking about, the sassy black friend. I had this video. I think I just wanted to call it "Come On, Man," and the idea was there would just be this black guy. So it'll be like characters of this fake like sitcom thing. They're sitting there, and then they're doing their usual sitcom stuff, and then this black guy would show up and go, "Come on, man," and then like a laugh track would go, and then you just keep saying that, just "Come on, man," and you would say nothing else, but "Come on, man," and it's like that's what they want. That's what these people are asking for. They want that kind of representation. Where it's just some one note thing. It's like, okay, it's like, oh, I want a black guy who's gonna walk in and do black guy stuff. But
it's like you fought so hard to like land this role or to finally be seen on screen, and it's not even in the right light, right?
Exactly.
You know, so it's like, what's the whole point?
Yeah, and then
What
it
is the
really
point?
limits when you're now trying to construct reality to the specific what do you call it, identities and ideologies of certain people, then you begin limiting fields to now fit into this very narrow vision. So like you take like acting for example, like where Scarlett Johansson is trying to portray a trans character and they rally against her in the field of fucking acting. It's acting. It's
Remember when
like,
Scarlett Johansson was Asian?
it's like, are you serious? Like, what's next? So, is there gonna be a time where I just like, if a character's written as like, or I don't know, if a character has a white name, I can't play him because is that where our society is going? Or
Yeah.
character has a black name or
Come on, bro. There was no reason for her to play an Asian lady.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But to be fair, that Asian lady ain't drawn like no Asian lady.
No, I don't think she's. Is she?
And Ghost in the Shell, she played Ghost in the Shell. She's Asian.
Yeah, but in the Ghost in the Shell show, I don't think Major is Asian. I don't remember. Is she Asian? Or at least I don't think her body is Asian.
Yeah, I'm saying she is not drawn like an Asian lady.
Yeah.
Her name is Makoto. Excuse me, Kusanagi.
That's but it's the body. I think she was inhabiting another body. I
don't remember. The manga and in 1995, very very Asian. In 2017, that's Scarlett Johansson. Nah, bro, she's Asian. She's Asian.
Yeah,
she's
I didn't remember. I don't remember. I think I was thinking of something else. But yeah, it's just like it doesn't matter. You know what I'm trying to say? Like we live in an era where like it's like for example, right?
Nah, the whole setting is based in Japan. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. 100
for that one specific scenario, though.
Yeah, let's say now, like like when we're limiting these fields now to specific ideologies and beliefs and time periods. You take something like Star Wars, right? Star Wars is adapted from.
There's no reason for it to be in this bills.
No, a Star Wars is adapted from Japanese
mythology. No, look at the Discord. There's no reason for this post.
Oh, yeah, let me see. It's gonna be some. There's one reason.
My god, there's no reason for this.
There's one reason, and it's rising right now. Not joking.
Bye, fuck you.
What I was saying though is you look at something like Star Wars is adapted from a popular Japanese film, right? And story.
Yeah, they're space samurai, right?
Pretty much. And the same. And before Star Wars, there was the Magnificent Seven, which was adapted from the same thing. So now you're telling me we cannot adapt stories or adapt ideas or mythology because whatever we might be offending whatever culture or whatever or things like that. Because like. Let's say like
the Japanese like Star Wars.
Yeah. But then it's not the same on the other side, you know? Oh, there actually is a Star Wars manga, I think.
There's a manga for everything, but it doesn't mean it's like popular, like, you know.
What I was gonna say though, it's like when you get something like Hamilton, which is literally a reinterpretation.
It's not as popular in Japan. And this was 5 years ago. It was like, yeah, it's not as popular.
I mean, why would it be? You know, it's like
hey, there's some very famous American things that just blow up, and they just love that shit. I was just wondering if it was popular over there.
Oh yeah, well, Star Wars is like a very American story, you know.
that's the shit that they like over there. They don't like Naruto wasn't as popular in Japan because it was ninjas. Like they were like, it's a ninja. Who gives a fuck? One Piece is real popular because it's pirates. You know what they don't got in Japan? Pirates.
Pirates. But yeah, it's like now things can't be reinterpreted because, like, let's say, because when you look at something like Hamilton, it's like it's not. No one rallies against that when that is pretty much a reinterpretation of these European men through various brown and black people, and no one cares about it. So it's like we exist in a world where you understand that an actor does not have to completely embody or represent the thing that they are portraying. You understand that there's a level of suspension of disbelief that must exist. Like when you're watching a cowboy movie, you understand on some level that this guy is not a real cowboy, and there are things about this cowboy movie that probably are not going to be very accurate because it's a fucking movie, you know. But it's like I don't know. It's like people don't want to.
To
People
a
want to
certain
like.
extent, I can see what you're saying, but there also has to be a certain level of respect for the source material. I feel like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta do your homework at the end of the day. Like
yeah, I
when
agree
you
with
Because like there's a
you know
lot like
any
every time they
movie,
adapt the
yeah,
comic book thing and there's like they change it to fit it, it's just like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like the
Yeah,
reason it was popular is the reason that you
see,
decided
but
to make it a
no,
movie, but
that's true.
now you change everything. It's just like, what is this, right?
See, but no one complains when you reinterpret a character that was originally straight, but now you give them a new sexuality and change their identity. No one complains, or at least people do complain, but they're
I
called
feel like
trolls.
it's if you're gonna do all that, it has to be vital to the story. Like if you just change your
yeah.
character sexuality just so you can like tick off a box, that shit's goofy to me.
I honestly don't think it should happen at all. I think just make a new fucking character. That's what I would say. Like,
I
why
agree with that, but I'm saying like if it had happened and it was like relevant to the story in a way, I'd be a lot more accepting of it. If you were just like, all right,
Yeah.
Superman's gay now. Why? Well, because he's gay. What's wrong with gay Superman? There's nothing wrong with gay Superman. It's just like, why is he gay now? Like, what
Okay.
is? Oh, you only doing this to tick off that box that you have a gay character? That's pandering, and I don't fuck with that shit. I don't fuck with pandering. I don't want a black Superman because he's black. Like, I want Superman to be black just because he is black. Like imagine it's the exact same story. He grew up in Kansas. He lives in Metropolis. He's everything's the
Well,
same, but he's
would
now
you
black. Like I don't give a
you
fuck, bro.
you
He's still Clark Kent, but he has melanin now. Just give that nigga a tan.
you would feel the same way if the character started out gay and then he ended up turning straight, right?
Yeah, I would be like, why is he
Yeah,
straight now? Like, for what reason did you
yeah.
change? Like, why did you change it? Like, why? Like, when you're taking characters and you're just changing things arbitrarily for no reason, what's the point of that? If you're
Yeah, well,
changing things, like it is an if it's an interpretation of the story, right? And there are things that are different, and there are reasons for those differences, then all for it. Because right now there's a fucking Trigun remake that exists on fucking Crunchyroll. I'm watching it. So far, I don't hate it because they didn't change too much about Vash's like actual personality. He's still a very goofy guy, but he has some serious moments to him. They've changed other things like um I don't know if you ever seen Trigun, but you know the two insurance agents? They're not
They
insurance
follow
agents
him around.
anymore.
Yeah.
They're reporters. And Millie is still there, but the tall girl, she's not there. It's someone else. And why is it someone else? It's because the someone else is like the older gruff reporter that's teaching this newbie the ropes. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Like I'm okay with that character change because there's a reason for it. Like
I got Wolfwood still in it.
I don't know, I haven't seen him yet. Better
Yeah.
fucking better be
Oh,
shit.
love Wolfwood, man. Love
Man,
Wolfwood.
it's cold as hell. Um, I don't really like his haircut in the new one though. I don't like it. I think his jacket's cool. I'm not saying the old one is worse. I just
Nah,
think they're both
he
cool.
always had a cool look, like the
oh, what do you
cross. That
what
shit
do you
was
guys
fire.
what do you guys think about, like, do you think J.K. Rowling should be do you think she should be punished for her beliefs and
Look,
that kind of
man,
stuff?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know no shit about her.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
the
I don't know shit about her. I don't give a flying fuck about her. I ain't read the Harry
okay,
Potter books. I'm not a fan. Should she be
sure,
punished
but
for her
generally,
beliefs straight up? Probably not, cause what we out here just punishing people for believing things now. Isn't that what we fought against for years?
I mean, it's not what you believe. It's voicing it on the platforms that you voiced it on. There's going to be consequences with that, especially when you're someone like that holds some kind of position where of influence
And
where
like I
people
said,
are
I don't know what she
following.
said. I don't
See,
know if she was out here advocating for violence against these people.
no, she didn't like at
So,
all.
so if she's
But
not
that's
advocating
the
for
issue.
violence against these people,
But see,
then what can I?
that's how they get you though. They say that your language can incite violence, ergo we should treat it as if it's already violent in itself. That's what they say. It's literally how they justify like
I don't
banning
know who
people.
they is, but I never fucked with
No,
anyone whose
when I
name.
say they, I'm not even
Look,
saying like some.
I know what you said, but I'm just saying I don't fuck with anyone named Day, so
Well, my pronouns are they them.
I
So.
don't fuck with you either. So
Oh, okay. You heard it here, guys.
nah, I don't fuck
Ray
with
doesn't fuck.
you
Ray
specifically.
doesn't fuck with gender neutral people. You heard it here.
Oh
You
man,
heard
I
it
did
here.
walk into that one. I walked into that one. I fucked that up.
Anyways, what I was gonna say though is that argument, right? The idea that you will face consequences for your actions and for your words. Very true. It's
Yeah,
something
you
that
should
happens.
face consequences for your actions and words.
Yeah,
Like
It's
if
not
I
what you
walk
believe.
in and I
it
start
doesn't
saying
necessarily.
fighting words to people, I jump me, bro. If I walk into a group of people and start saying some
Jump me, bro.
horrendous shit and I'm saying fighting words, I deserve to get my ass beat.
This
Like
man turned to
imagine,
Jesus.
like
This
imagine
man
I
turned to
kick open
Jesus.
the door to some funeral and it's like I'm glad that bitch ass nigga dead. And I start saying a bunch of wild shit. If the family got up and jumped me, it'd be my fault. It
This,
would
this
be.
man. This
Even
man.
if you really believe it, he should be dead. Like, you
This
know what I'm
man
saying?
Ray. This man Ray turned to Jesus. He said.
Back me up now.
But
Bro,
anyways, but the thing about that argument, and I was just watching something about. I was watching Mr. Robot, and there was a character who died, and then the other girl was like, basically she refused to back down from something, and the other character was like she made her choice, and the other character was pretty much pointing out she didn't have a choice because it's like it's either she does what you say or she dies. So it's
I
like you're
mean that,
saying she has a
that
choice,
sounds
but
like a
does she
choice to
really have
me.
a choice,
Sounds like a
right?
choice to me.
I mean that's the example or
Should
pretty
have
much the
died.
definition of what a martyr is. Like how many people have died in this country for what they believe in?
Yeah, but it's like ultimately, it's like when you give someone an alternative that obviously is very, very
Bad.
very bad, then it's almost like you gave them no choice at all, right? Like most people are
Right?
not going to choose that terrible choice. So when it comes here to like when you say something like, "Oh, you face the consequences for your actions," it's like if you create a platform in which people can only say one kind of thing and then people are punished for the other thing, then you can't really argue that's necessarily a free
It's
platform, can
not.
you?
It's not a plea platform.
Never said it
Yeah.
was a free platform, but I just think that like when you start touching upon subjects that especially like even though we're in a progressive era, there's a group of people in a community that's just waiting to pounce on you if you say the wrong thing. And
Then where are you supposed to have those
JK,
conversations, bro?
yeah, that's
Where are you supposed to have
that's
them?
the issue.
And if you're not having these conversations, what are you talking about? If it's not a
Well, because
conversation, what are you saying?
then on
You're
one
right.
hand,
You're right.
you can say,
I'm not saying it shouldn't be that way, but I'm just saying how it
"Oh, it
is
is
as
how it
at
is."
this
Yeah.
moment. And
Are you
JK
though?
Rowling before she before she put out any whatever she said, I don't know what she said, but before she put out those tweets or that statement, um, like she's aware of this. She lives in the world and she's
She does
seen.
live in a
Pretty sure
society.
But then
I'm pretty sure she's seen previous examples
but
of
then you
people
can make
think
the argument. You can make the argument she chose to be the martyr.
chose to be the martyr.
She decided it needed to be said,
Yeah.
right?
I
But
don't
it's
have a
like
problem with it either way. It's just you can't do something and then get mad, when the consequences come. Like that's what part of being a martyr
But
is.
see,
You don't care about the consequences.
well, you can still talk about if they're just or unjust, even
right?
if you're facing the
Like,
consequences,
You
right?
like
can't say
you
that.
are a
You can't
martyr,
say that.
right? So that means
Yeah.
you are going up against some unjust system. You can still complain about the system because why the fuck are you being a martyr in the first place,
Yeah.
right? Like you generally believe what you're doing is right. I'm not saying whoever is right in this case. I'm just saying talking
Yeah.
about the ideas of martyrism. So like, yeah, I'd still be like, yeah, I know I was a martyr, but isn't it crazy? I'm in this like execution block for this like saying some
I
shit.
mean,
Like,
yeah.
What, you gonna say I
I'll
can't complain that the king's executing me because I said the king had a fat head? That nigga got a
But is
fat
it
head, bro.
but is it crazy if
Nigga.
but is it really that crazy if, let's say, going off your example, we've seen countless people before you speak up and say something and get thrown in the cell? And now you're
Yes, it is still crazy. Yes, it is still crazy.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
still a
even
crazy
more
thing.
crazy that it's happening so blatantly.
Yes. Because all that it takes for evil to pass is for enough good men to stay silent. Like enough good men stay silent, evil will proliferate.
And
That's just how
I
in the
guess
words,
the situation itself is crazy, but that outcome happening is not. Like,
see,
that
like,
happened before you, and it's
all
probably
right,
gonna
yeah,
happen
all
after
right. So I can admit, like, the outcome is known, but that doesn't make it not crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
But he's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing is going to lead to this thing, and I'm doing this because the outcome is crazy, and
Well,
I'm
maybe
going
you
to
can
keep
argue.
talking about how crazy it is.
That's how crazy it is that this keeps happening. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, damn,
like,
this keeps happening. I know it's gonna happen, but damn, this keeps happening.
It's
yeah,
still
like every time
unbelievable.
anyone ever says, just listen to what the police say, isn't it crazy that niggas have
Yeah.
literally said that shit? Oh,
Yeah.
just listen to them. Just do what they say and you'll be okay. I shouldn't have to let this man who is literally breaking the law violate my rights so I get to
Yeah.
go home at night, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's crazy when people say that, especially for that specific argument, because if you're well versed enough in history and you consider yourself a patriot, like an American patriot, you definitely should 100% fucking agree that there should not just be men walking around with complete authority over over other people.
yeah.
And if you meet most ANCAPs and most like people like that, they 100% agree. Like they
I mean,
don't think.
this country's very existence was founded in rebellion against that. Like, the whole monarch system and kings and having absolute power and the whole American Revolution that was sparked and being colonized, like, they were against that shit. So to see it um showing some kind of resemblance now in different ways is like you said, a very it's a counter to what somebody is supposed to believe America to be, you know?
I was gonna go at length about cops, but we can talk about that on Saturday because there was
I
something I
mean,
wanted to
we
say
could
about.
talk about what we came here to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, we
So like,
have a
yeah,
tendency to do that.
yeah, we go off on tangents. But yeah, it's like
Oh man, I think
I,
I'm muted. Not for
The whole
you.
time?
Not for
Damn.
oh,
you.
you scared the shit out of me.
That's the first thing I think of the whole time.
You scared the shit out of me.
Nah,
But um, I'll be
hope
willing
not.
to play the.
Shit.
I'm I'm willing to play the martyr in this situation. I will say, when it comes down to the idea of gender, obviously, I do believe there are two genders. It's just my personal belief. It's not just, it's just steeped in just like if you're talking about labeling and when I say genders, I'm talking about from a biological perspective. When it comes to gender expression, sure, express yourself however you want.
Yeah, I don't
I
give a
don't care.
flying fuck, bro.
Yeah, I do not give a fuck. Form whatever identity you want in your head. It does not matter to me. I'm not some evangelical walking around preaching to you that you should exist as a man. I mean, do I think there's a natural state for the vast majority of men? Yes, I agree with that, and for women as well, right? But you're free to do whatever the fuck you want with your life. I do not care. Right?
You wanna know what I think
Like,
about? I think
Are you
about how
still
far we must have come that these are the issues that we have. It just
yeah.
means that we live in like a really, really nice time period.
oh no, no, no. Apparently, and they're not entirely wrong.
A way of looking at it.
The gender expression thing has existed for centuries.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there,
yeah. But I'm just saying, like looking at the problems that we're facing now, we live in some pretty good times.
true, true. Because yeah, I highly, highly, highly doubt that cavemen were not out there talking about they want to identify as what. Like there were no cavemen talking about
Caveman, me no caveman, me cave woman.
caveman, me raw, me raw.
Me wolf, I go with hunt with pack.
They walk up to the
That's
wolves and
all right.
just get
That's a
fucking
pretty goofy idea right there.
go up to the wolves and just get fucking eaten. Just get fucking devoured into pieces. It's like
This
I guess I
this
wasn't
this the way in the park. This is the way.
the way in the back.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're never gonna become popular.
Nah, that I mean, no. Some people If we say
Oh
enough
shit.
firebrand
But
stuff,
it's just more of like that mentality of like y'all can do what y'all want, you know what I'm saying? Be who y'all want to be. But when you start affecting the mediums that I enjoy on a regular
yeah,
basis,
exactly.
hey,
Affecting the mediums that I enjoy,
you're having some
making
kind of intrusion into my life now.
making policies that now affect me and limit
Yeah.
my comfort. Like
And
if you're gonna make policies,
that
right?
kind of attitude, though, I'm not gonna lie, it oddly, in some ways, it sounds similar to the separate but equal thing during the Jim Crow era.
Don't even get me started on that.
Everything sounds similar to something else.
I can say some things about that will make you probably widen your eyes a little bit. We'll talk about that
Everything
another time.
sounds similar. All the problems we ever have are always the same problems. We just
Yeah.
find new ways to represent them.
100%.
Like go do your thing over there, just don't bring it around me. Just like, do you really, are we equal? Do you value me the same?
I think that's kind of an acceptable policy. Like, keep your shit to yourself. I mean, you're free to do it out in the public if you want, but like,
It still feels hostile though. It's like a
See,
sense
I think of it more like
of
this way.
hostility in that.
I think of it more like this because there was a comedian talking about this where he's like, yeah, this lady dropped her purse. I picked up her purse and was like, hey, ma'am, you dropped your purse. And she turned around wide-eyed and was like, did you just assume my gender? And he was like, did you assume I know what a pronoun was? Well, do you assume my pronouns? He's like, do you assume I know what a pronoun is? It's goofy. It's fucking goofy. It's like, look, man, I saw long hair from the back. I said what I said. Oh, my bad. And, like, keep it pushing. Like, keep it pushing. Bro, the amount of times where I thought this, like, a guy who is a guy was a woman, and he's like, I'm a dude. I'm like, oh, shit, that's my fault, King. Like, that's it. You know, and he's like, I get that shit a lot, because, like, he understood that he has the long hair. He has, like, a very specific build that's, like, akin to, like, a female. It's not like he was like, I'm tired of this shit, of all these people. It's like, yo, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell
Are you
you.
talking about the video where remember the guy? He's like, what do you want me to call you? What do you want me to call you?
No, I'm not talking about that guy, but that shit was hilarious.
What do you want me? It's like, what do you want me to call you? What do you want me to call you?
What would you assume?
What
And he's like, yo, bro, come on. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Could you show EJ the picture of what the person look like? Because here's the thing. They say, what would you assume? Right?
I don't even know how to find this video.
The guy goes, I would assume you're a man. And then like they turn the camera back on themselves like this is gonna be some revelatory thing that's gonna make the guy look stupid. But then they turn the camera back, and yes, most people would agree with him. So it became a meme because he turned the camera back and it's like a guy in a wig. Yeah, it's just like yeah, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? Whatever.
No, because it was right here in videos, but I don't want to play the video.
Here it is. Just don't show me. Just show EJ what the person looks like.
I'm gonna go find it. But go on, talk about the thing.
Yeah. So it's like if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Like look, EJ, what would you assume that person is? They're talking to you.
I don't assume nothing. I wait till I get more information, and then I make it.
No, they asked you to assume. They asked you. They literally looked you in the face and asked you.
What would you assume?
I don't know what to assume, man.
That means we know exactly. This is it. This is the.
It means you have no choice. That's what it means.
It means we know the answer that you would assume.
Yeah, we know the answer, but you can't say it because you cannot say it. You get what I'm saying?
There you go. There's my answer.
It's like they're laying a mine for you to step on. They know what you're gonna say, so they can turn the camera back on themselves and be like,
See, yeah, no, like, and that I don't like that kind of rhetoric because it's like, yo, here's this person. He was trying. He was like, look, what do you want me to call you? He was like, look, man, I was the one who dealt with you. Like, I'm sorry that happened. He's like, promise me I can change. It's like he can't promise you that.
Yeah, that's a weird.
Like how is he supposed to promise it? Because the situation was they handed over a card, read the name on the card, and was like, all right, mister. Like that was it. That's what happened. And they're like, how dare you assume XYZ? And it's like, for example, say the name was Mike. It's like, come on, bro. Your name was Mike. Like, that's it. He's like, that's what happened. It's like, and especially like, we live in a society. You know that niggas think that Mike is a male name. You know that shit. That shit, too.
Every time one of y'all say we live in a society.
Bro, but it's true. Because, like, here they are mad at them being like their wrong gender or whatever. But it's like you are literally walking around with like a very masculine name. If someone who only like looks at your name was supposed to like just say some sort of polite thing, right? And most people still it's like sir or madam. That's politeness, sir or madam, right? And it's like, all right, sir, here's your order. All I saw was your name. You understand that was going to happen. You knew.
Yeah.
You knew what was going to happen. You
That
have to
reminds me
deal
of
with those consequences.
that reminds me of the Dave Chappelle skit when he's talking about a different issue about like women being promiscuous, right? So he was saying that like that men shouldn't assume that a woman puts herself out there like that sexually, that she doesn't carry herself that way. But the way they dress, the provocative clothing and things that can in a man's eyes give them that perception doesn't help, and he was saying it's flat out fucking confusing. That's what he said
I mean, it is
verbatim.
confusing.
Because
It's confusing as
he was
fuck.
like, what if one of us dressed up as police officers and there happened to be a crime there going on nearby, and the victim ran up to us and was like, hey officer, I need help. This person attacked me. I'm just like, what made you think that we we're police officers? And I just don't like to wear this because I think it's fashionable.
It's like,
Like,
yeah,
what gives you the right?
I walk around in boots and all blue for fun. Like I walk around
Yeah.
with a bulletproof vest on and all blue and boots for fun. It's
I
like, what about
mean,
that
you
hat
sound like
on your head?
you sound like you're from Chicago.
Yeah, those guys are weird, man. Those guys are something else. Let me stop talking before some Chicago nigga kicks my door down.
It's like, yo, you talking shit, kid? Yo,
It's just
let's
confusing as fuck,
let's
that
let's
type
talk
of.
about something else that's confusing. What the fuck is going on with Velma, bro? Like,
Oh shit!
I
That's
generally,
your favorite character, bro. You don't have to explain that one.
Oh my god! I just realized something.
what?
We're muted.
No, the agendas got mixed up in my head. That's why I've been talking about J.K. Rowling for so long.
Yeah, this is
We don't
this is
gotta
the
talk.
man
We
responsible.
can save the Velma talk for later, I guess.
Damn! But we literally named the video Velma.
Just change the name. I can literally change the name right now.
I
Man
mean,
had a heart attack, man. Like these things are fixable, man.
that's crazy
You
that
didn't
I
you
said
didn't,
that.
I
you
was
didn't lose your
wondering. I was like,
wallet
yeah,
because you
we
wanted to
have
talk
not
shit.
hit this topic at all.
That's why it wasn't like I was just damn. That's
No,
wild.
I don't know. I'll finish talking about Velma right now because that shit is.
Yeah,
Do we
sure.
really have
Give us a quick review of Velma, and then
do we
yeah,
have to do an entire episode on that? Because
Well,
I feel
we
like you
obviously
could wrap that
we're
up in
we're
like
going to talk about other things, right? But
yeah, give us a quick
the quick
review of
review
Velma.
is Velma is a show that was written by a person who doesn't like cartoons, or at least who is like never written for a cartoon ever in her life. Because a lot of the shit that I'm seeing here would be maybe funny in a live action setting, and like she's most notable, I believe, for writing The Office. Which, look, man, I don't think that shit's funny. So, bro, none of the Velma
Office.
jokes hit. None of the jokes hit. The whole premise itself is weird. It is doing the Rick and Morty thing where Velma's just an unlikable person. Like as a person, she is unlikable. She has not said one nice thing about anyone in the show in the 2 episodes that have been out. Like she's literally criticized, like literally just criticized
I
everyone
don't
she's
think
ever met.
I don't think she's ever been likable though.
What are you talking
She's never
about?
been unlikable. Velma?
Yeah, no, actually, what are you talking about? Like in every series that has exist, Velma and Scooby Doo and the gang in general have been likable people. They have never been unlikable people.
Hey,
Will they have
Velma,
annoying traits? Maybe.
I'm talking about like the well, you're talking about her personality. I was talking about like the reception from the people that watch it.
she's one of the
Like the
favorites.
show Velma or like Velma in general. Like,
Velma is actually one of the favorite characters of Scooby Doo, along with Shaggy.
yeah, that's what I'm trying
Like,
to like figure out. Do you mean this
Is
specific
she?
iteration?
yeah,
Yeah.
no one really gives a fuck.
I've never heard that in
Bro,
No
my
one
it's
gives a
Scooby
fuck
and
years of
Shaggy are
living.
top dog, and then it's Velma.
Literally, no one gives a fuck about Fred or Daphne, bro. You know the catchphrase that gets repeated all the time? Jinkies.
That's
Whose
Velma's
catchphrase is
catchphrase.
Jinkies? Yeah.
That is Velma's catchphrase.
And what is it? Zoinks?
Doinks and
Yeah.
Jinkies.
Like,
Well, Fred doesn't really have a catchphrase
yeah.
besides
Well,
"Let's
he
split up,
does.
gang."
Come on, gang. Like, no one walks around like talking about "Come on, gang" or no. They don't mimic
Yeah,
Fred.
like Daphne's character is non-existent. Well, that depends.
Oh,
If you're talking about like the first series, right? Like Scooby Doo, Daphne is just the hot girl, right? Fred's the
Yeah.
Chad, like Shaggy's the stoner, Velma's the smart one, Scooby's the dog.
I always seen Velma as like the nerd that nobody talks to. You know.
Well, that's like depends on what series you're talking about. Because in a puppet
right.
in a puppet named Scooby Doo, they all get like character overhauls, kind
I've
of, where they
seen
get
that.
like a
I've
lot
seen that. Yeah.
stronger
Hey,
personalities.
real quick, check the Discord and then continue talking. Yeah.
That's fucking stupid. But okay. Well, yeah, the puppet named Scooby Doo, they get a lot stronger personality traits, right? Like Scooby and Shaggy, they just like double down on their fucking ravenous hunger. Velma is way nerdier, right? Like she literally like carries a computer in her briefcase, type of nerdy. Daphne, she's a rich girl. She's into fashion and whatever. But like they actually have a personality. They have annoying traits about them. Like Fred does some annoying shit. Like Fred, they do some annoying things, but generally like they're likable people.
You're talking about a pup, right?
A pup named Scooby Doo in that one. In What's New Scooby Doo, they go back to the traditional like.
No, Mystery Incorporated kind of does the same thing where they double down on their specific traits.
Yeah.
And in that series, Velma is kind of mean, but not really. Like
She's
Velma
as
doesn't
mean as a
become-
normal person is, or she
No.
does like some annoying things sometimes.
No, she would make like sarcastic remarks sometimes, but she becomes mean later. And the only reason she became mean was because of what happens in the show. Basically, she gives Shaggy the choice. It's either me or Scooby, and Shaggy chooses Scooby. So she gets heartbroken and sour over being literally rejected for a dog. So she becomes kind of a bitch because it really pissed her off. So
But
she's
there's a
kind of
reason for that. But I'm just talking about in general, the Scooby Gang has been like likable people, or like at least normal people, where it's like they do have those annoying traits, and like they will do, like I said, annoying things sometimes. But like this Velma is just an annoying character. Like there's not a single likable trait that she has. She is like if someone else is introduced onto screen, she is automatically just saying some horrendous shit about them. Like that's it. Like she's just saying something bad. Bro, her introduction to the show is her whacking Daphne across the room with like a fucking hockey puck, like hockey stick. I was
Makes
like,
sense. She jealous.
Jealous of what?
She want
jealous
her looks,
of what,
man.
bro?
She want her looks, man. I don't know.
You don't know. Like that's the problem. You don't know. Like if Velma was jaded for some
conclusion in my mind, it's probably some,
if Velma was jaded for some sort of reason, maybe it's be acceptable. But like off jump, like she is just the worst person, and I'm like, this is my main character, bro. Like I have to follow the show about her, and like Norval, he's a normal guy. He's literally a normal fucking guy. In fact, his life is literally made worse by associating with Velma. Like he'd be happier if she never existed. Like I genuinely believe he'd be happier if she never existed. Also, for some reason, he has a crush on her. Like, why?
That's goofy. That's goofy.
Why? Like she's literally not nice to him.
Oh, you think that's goofy? Shaggy and Velma having a relationship?
I think it's goofy having a crush on someone who's just constantly mean to you.
I'm talking to you. You do?
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned that because that was another thing in Mystery Incorporated that they introduced. They had a relationship, but then they immediately
canned that shit.
Yeah,
that's
they
goofy,
canned
man.
it.
I don't think it's goofy. Like it makes a lot of sense. It was a bunch of teens hanging out. One's paired up, the other's probably going to pair up. That's just
man. That
shit
messes
happens.
up the friend dynamic, man.
Yes, it happens all the time.
That was actually a huge part of the plot. It messed up the friend dynamic.
Yeah.
And it ruined their friendship.
It makes sense, but it's things like, as we established in today's episode, it could make sense, even though you didn't use this word, but it's goofy. You know, it doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. It makes sense. Doesn't make it right. It's still goofy.
But what I was gonna say though, the thing about Velma being a bitch and just a bitch all the time, that's just how they design protagonists now. They think that's the idea, people are so insular and they cannot accept the fact that they have flaws, or they think their flaws are strengths. That's the new thing. Your flaw is actually your strength, you know? So like you have a character like Rick, all his flaws are actually strengths. He's the smartest guy in the fucking universe, and the only reason he's an asshole is because he's so smart. And that's what they're trying to do with Velma. They're trying to make her a very Rick Sanchez kind of character. Like from the few clips I saw, they were trying hard to make her the Rick Sanchez of the show.
Yo, but
And
Velma is literally not even smart in her own show. Like every time she solves any part of this mystery, it's because someone else literally just told her the answer. Like literally someone else told her the answer. In fact, episode 2 starts off where fucking Fred is going to jail because she literally got the wrong confession. She solved the wrong thing. Fred didn't kill anybody. But because she's so stupid and just refuses to let anyone else say anything, Fred is going to jail now. And he's on trial.
jeez.
How much of the show did you watch, bro?
I've watched other people watch the show. I've watched reactions to other people watching the show.
You gotta
So
stop
I
doing that, man.
basically
You gotta
watched
really
the
immerse
entire
yourself
show.
in this stuff.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, EJ, because I was thinking about this earlier. So we'll get right back to Velma. This is a brief aside, but it's kind of related to this. Um, when I saw Velma, I knew immediately, just based on things I was hearing, it was not a show I would enjoy. So I did not partake in it. I didn't even read anything about it. I didn't watch any people talk about it. It's just not something I do very often. Sometimes I'll catch my favorite content creators. They'll mention something, right? And I'll see those, but I don't go out of my way, now to find out. So the thing is, with Thor: Love and Thunder, it was very similar. I saw one trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder. I was like, yeah, this is not my kind of movie. This was not made for me. I'm not gonna watch this, right? And then some girl I know showed me the 30 minutes of Thor: Love and Thunder, and yeah, it confirmed it was not a movie I would have enjoyed. And I was walking earlier today. I went for a walk, and I was thinking in my head about how, because I just finished reading the Gorg the God Butcher arc, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, damn, they really took that arc and made that garbage. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, because I never read it before. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, damn, like imagine walking into the theater after you just finished reading, and this is probably what really happened to Ray. Not just, but you actually read the arc that this is based on, and you see all this goofy shit going on. You're just like, damn. And then I
Bro, I
was
won't
thinking in
lie,
my
when I
head,
was
I was
watching
like,
Love and Thunder, when Thor when Gore is in New Asgard, I thought that scene was cool as fuck. Cause like I was like, that's cool. And then it stopped being cool. Like
yeah,
that was the coolest thing he did, and then he stopped being cool.
yeah,
And I agree with a lot of people. A lot of people was like, yo, Christian Bale's performance as Gore, good.
yeah,
If he was allowed to do a more serious rendition of it, I think it'd be great.
yeah. Like you got that part right after where he starts doing the thing where he has the puppet and he's doing that goofy shit with the kids. I was like, why are they doing this? I was like, what relevance does this have to the plot? Like, how does this drive the plot forward? It's like, are you trying to show that Gore is evil? I mean, we've already established that he's a murderous psychopath. We
Yeah.
established he kills people. Like we showed this
But
already. I was like, why is he doing this now? But yeah, as I was walking, I was thinking in my head, I was like, man, thank God I did not watch that movie. I was like, that shit would have made me very angry and very unhappy. But yeah, keep going.
so back to Velma. Yeah, no, Velma is literally just a very unlikable character in the show. Like, she does also the jokes hit flat. Velma's an unlikable character in the show. A lot of people are upset that Norville, like Shaggy is Norville, and I'm just like, for what reason? Like Norville is his regular name. People are like talking about how they just made him a black guy. It's like I don't really care that they changed that aspect. My problem
I
with
mean, I
Shaggy,
care. You wanna know why I care? Because he looks fucking nothing like him, doesn't sound like him, doesn't seem to act like him.
he
So I
doesn't.
was like, why is he?
This Shaggy, I that's the thing. The thing I don't like about Shaggy is like it seems like his entire joke is that he is not Shaggy. Like he hates drugs. He's a very upstanding citizen. Like that's it. That's his whole thing.
Oh, jeez. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like, part of why I think Velma's so bad is I feel like a lot of time they design shows to make people pissed off. I think they do this. I think a lot of it is out of spite. Like you look at the New Warriors thing, that was done out of spite. That was like they were like, we're gonna show it to those conservatives, and then they made a character Snowflake, Sage Space, and all that goofy shit, right? So like they want you to be pissed. They want you to read about how they're gonna turn whatever blonde hair, blue eyed guy you were a fan of into an Asian or a woman. And they want you to sit there and like, man, I can't believe this. And then they want you to type 10 comments so they can take those 10 comments, put it in a fucking article on IGN and go, racist trolls are campaigning against insert whatever show here. So like that's why I feel like shows like Velma are designed for that reason, to piss people off, so that then we can have this constant divisiveness going on in this country.
Also, Fred is Fred.
Oh, he's a white guy, so he's a constant.
Yes, they hate him because he's white. Like all of his bad characteristics stem from the fact that he's white. All of his good characteristics also stem from the fact that he's white. His whole character arc stems from the fact that he's white. Like Velma hates Fred because he is white, but also thinks he's really hot. And like everyone is calling this a self-insert, and I was like, absolutely. This is everyone I've ever met. This is every chick I've ever met, bro. They talk about how much they hate white men, and then they end up dating one.
I'm gonna say something based. Brown women especially.
Correct.
Yeah. And when you guys, when I say brown, I'm talking about women of of a Middle Eastern or even Pakistan, whatever you want to say, descent. They are the ones who they'll talk up and down about their social justice things, and
literally
soon as fucking go for it.
Literally in like episode 1. So what happens is literally just constantly shitting on Fred. Then Fred shows up on screen and she's beside herself in glee because Fred is hot. And like Fred just insults her, because Fred just insults her just cause, right?
Because he's white, and white men.
His literal first line in the show is, "Oh, sorry, I have a disease where I can't recognize people who aren't hot." And then she's like, "Bro, it's Velma. You cheat off me in Spanish because you think I'm Mexican." And then his next line is, I know, I'm caliente," as her people would say. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here, bro? Like, Fred, see, in that point, Fred is some racist, and then later in the show, he's not a racist. It's also, bro, Fred is just everything wrong with white people in general. Like, at home, he is treated like a baby because his mom babies him, but at the same time, his dad wants to toughen him up. And it seems like Fred's the only character that's going to go through some character arc development, because the only reason he even acts like a jerk is because his dad wants him to act like a jerk. Like, Velma's dad is the lawyer that's going to precede him. He's like, yo, thank you for taking the case. Then his dad is like, he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, you better be glad we're letting you take this case, and if you fuck up, we're going to use our entire power to destroy you. And I was like,
that's kind of like what they did with Flash Thompson. How like a development of his characters, he wasn't just an asshole just cause he learned he has like an abusive relationship with his parents and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's such an asshole.
And they don't do that shit for anyone else. Velma, why is she an asshole? Because she is.
Yeah.
She has hallucinations whenever she tries to solve mysteries.
What about Asian Daphne?
Daphne is the second best character in the show.
What's her story though?
There isn't a story, bro. Yeah. That's why she's the best character in the show, because you don't know shit about her.
What's her last name now?
I don't know. She's adopted.
She's like supposed to be mixed.
She's adopted. What was it? She's Daphne Blake, right?
Different.
Yeah, Daphne Blake, yeah.
I think it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Wu, which is...
But you said she's adopted, so...
she's adopted to two lesbian like, literally, every other line... I'm
going to go ahead and let myself out.
Every other line out of Velma's mouth is some sort of commentary on, like, Hollywood. She was like, I thought lesbians were supposed to be good at solving mysteries. I was like, what does that even mean, bro? Like, what shows are you watching where you get these kinds of ideas?
Yeah, what does that mean?
And then, like, the start of the show, she's like, this is my origin story. Usually origins are about strong white men. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you watching? Like, what are you actually watching, bro? It was like usually origin about like strong men who have to like save the day, or hot women, and you're just like, what happened that made her crazy?
See, but isn't it's actually usually the opposite. Like origins are usually about a weak character who grows into a strong character. Like even if you look at like the Terminator movies, like Sarah Connor becomes a badass over time, but she ain't a fucking badass in Terminator, the original movie. She spends the whole movie
But
running
man,
away, about to die.
literally the commentary on society and shit in Velma, I'm just confused. Look, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what Mindy's watching. We clearly don't have the same taste in shows. Because anytime she's trying to make some sort of larger
Oh,
reference
yeah.
to Hawaii, Hollywood, I mean, I just don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Well, you gotta remember she's not watching anything. She's commenting on a perceived idea. She's not watching because you know she's not out there. She's not going out there watching any like for example, a show like Jack Reacher is the only show I can possibly think of that would fit into that the stereotype of what she said. You meet Jack Reacher, he's a big white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes who's super fucking tough and pretty much unbeatable, right? That's like the only thing I can think of, right? She's not watching Jack Reacher, or maybe she is because she thinks he's hot. Maybe she is watching that shit. You know what? Maybe that solves the whole problem. Maybe the only show she's been watching is Jack Reacher because she thinks she's hot. She thinks he's hot, and that's why she believes all that stuff.
I genuinely do not know who the show is for, even. Because at one point she makes fun of adults who watch cartoons. And I'm like, but this is a adult cartoon.
But that's the irony. It's
It's
irony.
not irony. It's because it wasn't even a funny joke. Like,
Yeah, but
like,
that's the point. It's
because I've
irony.
definitely been made fun of watching the show, right? Where like
Yeah,
someone's
it's
made
like
fun of the audience,
wink,
but you're just
wink,
like,
wink.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah, you got me. Like, like I feel like, oh, I got him. This time I was just like, bro, you haven't made me laugh once this entire show. How are you making this dig at your boy? Like, I'm giving you a chance here, and you're just making me want to pack my shit and go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't even like the deprecating or the insulting your own audience thing is always very hard. Like, if you're gonna do it, it has to be in light jest. Or if you're gonna do it, you can be a real asshole about it if it fits with the tone. Like I remember Metal Apocalypse. One of my favorite songs that they've ever released in that show, and it's on their album, is called Fan Song. And the reason I love Fan Song so much is because it begins, we know we have a lot of fans out there who boost our record sales, and we just want to say, we hate you, you brainless mutants. And the whole song is just them insulting their audience. And it's funny. It's a funny song, right? And it fits with the theme of Metalocalypse because it's a very dark show. It
Mm-hmm.
has like very gross out kind of humor, right? Um, but like sometimes it's like you get the feeling like when you're listening to that song, you can tell like some of the stuff he's saying can be true about certain kinds of people when he's talking about how you live in your mom's basement and shit like that. Like if he's saying you're like a wimpy nerd, right? For some people that can be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like or like when EJ will say something about like how I sit in the mirror debating every decision I make. Something like that is funny because it's kind of true. But he's not trying to be mean to me. It's just something funny. It's an exaggeration of an actual trait I
Yeah.
have. But then sometimes you can tell that what the person is saying, they mean that shit. They do not like you. And it's like it's weird because like I'm the one supporting your existence. Why do you hate me? So it's like there's this writer named Alan Moore. And Alan Moore made the rest of his career just fucking insulting the fans of the very material he was writing for like the latter half of his career. Just talking about how men who read comics are man babies with wish fulfillment fantasies and superheroes are an evolution of white supremacy and fascism. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I don't understand. Whatever. So, yeah, you got to be very careful if you're going to insult your audience, you know?
But yeah, no, like literally, like I generally can't tell who Velma's for because it's not for people who are fans with the Scooby Doo IP because they changed everything, right? But and it's not even like like they changed everything and they like has some sort of like commentary about like the IP as a whole. It's not that. Like that's literally not what the show is. So it seems like it's genuinely trying to be about Velma and her struggles in high school or whatever. But like as I'm watching the show, it's just not coming together to me.
And the thing is, that's not even exactly new or like interesting. Because, like, if you want to say oh, this new route they're taking Velma in is so first of all, they already did that in Mystery Incorporated.
They
Velma
did that in the
having her
comics.
teenage, exactly, her teenage problems and shit. And if you want to say her possible lesbian evolution that seems to be they seem to be hinting at in that show, they hinted
Possible.
at
They
that
make
in
out at the
Mystery
end of episode
Incorporated.
2. They just
Yeah.
her and Daphne just make out at the end of episode 2.
Oh, well, in Mystery Incorporated, they hinted at that. It's hinted that she identified that she's now has a different sexuality when you get to the second season, and it's even hinted that she was supposed to develop a lesbian relationship with that character Hot Dog Water. You remember Hot Dog Water?
I could see
Yeah,
that happening. I think they'd be a
yeah,
good couple.
exactly. But then Hot Dog Water fucking dies because they killed people in that show.
That's
Like
crazy.
they,
That's
yeah, they
crazy.
yeah, they kill people off screen. Like you just hear them screaming and stuff, and then it's funny because fans in Mystery Incorporated would ask the director like, "Oh, was he like hurt? Is he coming back?" And the director would be like, because he can't say it in the show, but like on Twitter he'd be like, "No, they're fucking dead." It's like they're dead. So, no, they died. It's like we just didn't show it, but they're dead. They're dead. There's no coming back. They're dead. Um, but yeah, that's a great point. It's like who do they make this stuff for? Because I remember I was saw someone else talking about Velma. I didn't watch the video, but I saw someone what do you call it? Make a post on YouTube about Velma, and someone in the comments said something, and I was like, it's not even like they couldn't have made something similar to Scooby Doo and done all the stuff they wanted to do and just have it be like Ray said, a satirical take on Scooby Doo because literally they've done that before. Like you look at Venture Brothers. Venture Brothers is pretty much a riff on Johnny Quest and the Hardy Boys and just adventure fiction in general. And the whole thing, it's like it takes characters that are deep in pop culture and it twists them and makes parodies of them, and it's usually very dark. The version of them that you're seeing, like there's literally a Scooby Doo parody in the Venture Brothers called the Groovy Gang, and they're all based on popular serial killers and like stuff like that. So Fred is like instead of being Fred, he's Ted, as a reference to Ted Bundy, and Sammy is a reference to the son of Sam, and Scooby's like the fucking demon dog talking to him that he really wishes would stop. And his Scooby snacks are fucking medication that he's trying to use to get rid of the fucking voices in his head, right? And it's like it works because like they're not really taking the source material. Like it'd be different if you made a Scooby Doo show, and that's what that was. Like nobody wants to watch that. But then even if you want to say like even like beyond that, like let's say you can take a dig at something by making a thinly veiled parody of it, and you can have people now come and enjoy that thing. You can also change something, and people will still like it if you actually take it in a new and interesting direction. Like you look at the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo.
Oh,
Not only
good
did
show.
they huh?
Good show.
Yeah, they get rid of the fucking what is it?
I think
it's
it's only
Shaggy.
Shaggy and Scooby, right?
No, isn't it? I think it's Daphne's there too. They get rid of Velma and Fred, and now it's just like Shaggy and Daphne and Scooby. They kind of change Shaggy's character a little bit. He becomes more of like a lead now,
Oh yeah, Daphne
right?
is here. Is that Daphne?
I think it's Daphne. Yeah, they redesigned her though, so like he's
Who's this
more of a
little boy?
lead now. They change that, and then they do something that no other Scooby Doo cartoon had done up to then. They now have a serialized story where things happen one after the other, and they have a
Remember when
goal.
Scooby and Shaggy were like babysitters for these like actual ghost kids, like Frankenstein's
Yeah,
daughter and
that
stuff?
movie. That was that same era when he was wearing
Yeah,
that red
good.
shirt.
But I was
Yeah,
actually thinking about all the different Scooby Doo franchise things I've seen. I was like, Scooby and Shaggy, like Scooby Doo has never been like a very real one note thing. Like
exactly.
it's
Yeah,
evolved over time a lot. Like let me look.
yeah, yeah. Like when you look at the movies that came out in that like early that 1990s, late 90s to early 2000s period, and then they started trying to make them darker, and they started having real monsters now. And then you have that evolution that happened for a little while, the real monsters period.
All the Scooby Doo
Um,
movies,
yeah,
Scooby
and
Doo
then once
show.
the yeah, the Scooby Doo movies were now famous people. They're interacting with famous people
Ah,
more
fuck.
often.
Everyone hated Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, you have a pup named Scooby Doo, or now they're trying
13
to they have
Ghosts,
a
A
childlike
Pup Named
evolution.
Scooby Doo, What's New
Then you
Scooby
have
Doo, which was like one of the first revamps, right?
well, what's new Scooby Doo is them going back to the original.
Well,
Yeah,
that's why
that
I said it
was
was a
cool.
revamp.
But then here's
Yeah,
the
that was
funny thing
cool.
about what's new Scooby Doo, right? So what's new Scooby Doo is now an example of actually the wink and nod thing, where they would make jokes about typical Scooby Doo trends and things like that. That was the first one that did that.
Because at this
You know,
point, this is like the 17th fucking iteration of the show.
exactly. That was the first one that did that. You know, like
Um,
Mystery Inc. They act like Mystery Inc. And not just
I didn't watch Get a Clue. I didn't watch Get a Clue.
oh, that
2006.
one was weird. Get a Clue is weird. It's probably one of the weirdest iterations of Scooby Doo
Oh,
that ever existed.
nah, I think there's a different one that's weirder. Hold
No,
on.
Get a Clue is
Mystery
fucking weird.
Incorporated. This one. Be Cool Scooby Doo. That shit's goofy.
Oh, Be Cool was just like typical Scooby Doo with some humor in it. Shaggy and Scooby Doo. I mean, Be Cool is like I said, but Shaggy and Scooby Doo Get a Clue is like just like completely just
Is it
divulges
unhinged?
from typical Scooby Doo
Unhinged
fashion.
shit.
It's something
You
completely
know,
unrelated.
there's a German only Walmart edition of it's like just Velma and Daphne, like a live action Velma and Daphne.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've heard about that movie. Interesting. But anyways, what I was gonna say though is what Pup Named Scooby Doo also did the jokes about the source material, and that kind of stuff. But there's something funny that
Bro,
I was
Pup
actually
Named Scooby Doo broke the fourth wall like all the time.
exactly yeah. But there's a funny thing where back in the olden days, I don't know. I guess EJ is the person who would know about this. I think I've talked to Ray about this at length already, and he actually knows that an idea I want to make eventually
I
was
actually didn't know about
inspired
this
by
one.
this very concept. So basically, when Scooby Doo came out in 1969, it was very popular, right? So, or was it 1968? I don't remember. Very popular show. The formula worked. So what ended up happening is one Hanna-Barbera starts trying to recreate their formula by making a bunch of other Scooby-Doo clones. Other companies start doing the same thing. So like for a huge chunk of like the mid 70s all the way up until pretty much the 80s, you have a bunch of Scooby-Doo ripoffs. There's a bunch of shows that have almost the same premise. The only difference, a lot of them would be like they'd play in bands. That was like a thing they kept doing. A lot of them were like musicians. And I think that was based on originally the Scooby Doo gang were supposed to be musicians, but they dropped the idea. That's
Bro,
probably
remember
why
the
they
Hex Girls? Oh my god, the Hex
oh, yeah.
Girls.
So, anyways, other versions of Scooby Doo would make jokes about Scooby Doo, Scooby Doo tropes
Oh
and
yeah,
trends.
speaking of jokes about Scooby Doo, Norval looks in the camera and says he's talking about drugs, and then he looks in the camera and says, "Which I hate."
Hmm.
And he
Okay.
pauses, and that's why like it was scenes like that. I was like, yes, you're just writing live action, but animating it, and it's like you can't do that. Like that's
No.
a lot of Velma seems like if it was written for a live action, and they just animated it, and that's why I feel like a lot of the jokes fall flat.
Yeah.
It's so goofy.
What I was gonna say is one of my favorite jokes I've ever seen from one of those old shows. There's this Scooby Doo riff called Speed Buggy, right? And if you've seen Harvey Birdman, have both of you seen Harvey Birdman?
I've seen some of
A
the
little
episodes,
bit.
yeah.
Well, there's an episode of Harvey Birdman where
Oh
Speed
yeah, that's
Buggy,
old
the
school.
talking car, is in that episode, right? And there was a joke in that episode where the Fred riff is like, oh, I'll just catch the villain with one of my traps. And then the Daphne person that looks at him and goes, when has one of your traps ever worked? Like something like that. And this is a cartoon from like 1970 something. And I just thought that was funny, that meta joke. It's like, but your traps never work. It's funny because Fred's traps would have some malfunction. It was a weird joke because usually his traps actually do
See,
work.
it's like they would fail and then they would work in the end through after like being chased around. It's like he like fix it over time, or like the net would land somewhere else and they're running around and they get the net to land on him eventually.
Yeah.
So like I can see what they mean.
Yeah. My favorite Scooby Doo trend is the running through the doors thing.
Yeah,
I
bro, I
love
love
that.
that shit. It's fucking
That's a classic.
goofy.
That's a classic.
Oh yo, you remember when they met John Cena?
Hmm.
Oh my god, the John Cena thing is like, the
Bro,
music.
they're literally running from this boulder, and out of nowhere, John Cena jumps across the fucking canyon. His music is playing. He catches a boulder, an Indiana Jones rolling boulder, and they're like, then he pushes it off the cliff, and they're like, "Thanks, John Cena." It's
They
so
had to do that
stupid.
on purpose, right? They had to do that on purpose.
Yes, it was goofy as fuck because John Cena's not, bro. He's me and Scooby Doo. I'd want it to be goofy as fuck too.
When you think about the impact Scooby Doo has had on pop culture,
Bro, there's
or
37 movies.
yeah, like even look at Velma's probably going to be the Shaq now.
There's a return to Zombie Island, bro. We gotta watch Return to Zombie
Yeah,
Island.
yeah, we'll add that
Zombie
to the
Island
list.
is like the best movie.
Well, we should watch both now. If we're gonna watch that one too, because it's probably been a long time since either of us has seen Zombie Island. But what I was gonna say though is Velma's probably gonna be Velma and Scrappy, like Velma the show and Scrappy as a character are gonna be the two stains.
Oh, they actually had a Scrappy reference in Velma. Shaggy's doing a live stream, and one of the characters and one of the people in the chat is named Scrappy. I thought that's a good Easter egg right there. That was cool. That was a good reference.
Yeah, but yeah,
But then he turns Velma down, and everyone unsubs from him. Like everyone unsubscribes.
Oh wow,
Because Velma literally walks into his live stream, is like, "Give me $500." She's like, "No," and they're like, "What the fuck? Unsub!" And then they unsubscribe for him.
But those are going to be the two stains on the Scooby Doo legacy: the Velma show and Scrappy as a character. But what I was going to say is when you look at the Ultra Instinct Shaggy thing, where that shit became a meme, because you remember Ultra Instinct Shaggy?
Oh yeah, no, I was looking at the other things.
Yeah. Do you know what Ultra Instinct Shaggy is, EJ?
No.
Okay, so I'll explain this because the shit is funny. Because I saw it before it became a meme. So when everyone started making jokes about it, it was funny to me because I'd seen it. I saw this movie a long time ago. Scooby-Doo and the Phantom Dinosaur, I think. Basically, Shaggy goes into this like hypnotist and they remove like his fear from him. And for some reason, because I remember thinking this shit was weird and goofy and hilarious when I was watching it when I was younger. They remove the fear from him and he just becomes this badass who can do anything. Like he beats up all these bikers by himself. But then as soon as the fear comes back, then he becomes like a loser again, right? So people saw that shit, and then the joke became that Shaggy's been holding back this whole time, and then it'd be like it would have him defeating various powerful characters of various lore, like beating the shit out of Goku and One Punch Man and Thanos.
Here's a clip right here.
A few years ago.
Yeah, he'd always be like, "Oh, you're lucky you made me use 5% of my power." Oh, this is the one that
it's not the full video. It's just like talking about all the cool shit Shaggy's ever done.
Yeah, that's where the meme came from.
All of the cool shit he's ever done.
Yeah, but I'm saying part of the meme evolved from people going back and seeing Shaggy do crazy shit.
Scrawny ass character whooping your ass. It's crazy.
Across various Scooby-Doo media. Like, remember the thing that we always used to think was hilarious? Remember when Shaggy, there's an episode of Scooby-Doo where he takes these two like trash can lids. He starts going like this, and he falls off a building, and he starts flying.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then there's another one where he takes two popsicle sticks and rubs them together and starts a fire. So it's like, apparently he was always powerful. Oh, him and Scooby, because Scooby would do impossible shit.
Bro, Scooby is a Great Dane. Like, do you understand how big that dog has to be? Especially like, Scooby on his hind legs is as tall as Shaggy. Shaggy's easily 7 feet tall, bro.
Yeah, and then when you look at there was a time when I remember there's an episode where they're going across. Wait, are you checking your messages? Oh, I thought you were doing that on the stream.
No.
Now see all your messages. I was like,
cool.
But I'm gonna say though is when you watch Scooby Doo, there's an episode where they're going across a river and there's a fog. And then like no one can see, and Scooby,
he just like cuts open.
He wipes.
Oh yeah, one they wipe. I think there was a different one where they like cut open a circle and then they just like close that shit back. They like see some scary shit, they close it back.
Yeah, those are another classic Scooby Doo gag. The fucking whenever they're trying to lock whatever character out, and then like the fucking monster hands them the stuff, and they'll turn and see him. Everything they just put up there, they'll move that shit at light speed and run through.
Bro, they don't move it. They just run through it.
Yeah, they
Bro,
run
but my
right through
favorite
it.
gag is when they like go in, lock the door. They're like, we gotta get rid of the key. They throw the key out the window.
Oh yeah.
They'll throw the key out the window and be like, oh no, how are we supposed to get? Because the monster's in there with them. How are we gonna get out? They like go outside, get the key, come back inside, then
Oh man,
move
that
the
was
shit
so
and unlock the door. I was
just
like,
open the door right out. That
oh
was a
man.
that episode is so funny because the space kook or whatever, he's just standing there looking at them
He literally
confused.
just like watches them. Oh, Space Cook is also creepy as fuck, bro. It's just like, yo, what? Who came up with this shit?
Oh man. But
Oh,
remember Courage the Cowardly Dog? They
yes.
have the scariest monster of all time.
Which
The
one?
Ramses. Ramses.
Oh, Return to Slap. No, wait. Let me show you something that's scary. Because Ramses was scary. He
Oh
was.
no, you know the scariest one? Remember the one where actually let's see if we can find it. Because I want you guys to see how creepy that shit is. The one I think you might be thinking of the same thing, the one where he went to sleep and then he
Yes.
sees that thing and he wakes back up. That shit was
This thing,
creepy as fuck. Let me see. Oh my god. Yeah, could
bro.
you show the clip? Could you show the clip? Oh no, that thing too. The
This
white
one, bro,
that was
bro. Courage had the creepiest shit, bro.
yeah, could you show the video? I want EJ to see that shit. And show the
No,
stream
I see
too.
it. I seen it.
Oh, the You're
Yeah,
Not Perfect.
yeah, I seen it. That my bad.
This shit was so good. You just play it anyway.
Had a lot of creepy monsters.
Just
Oh,
play it anyway. Because that shit scared me and then also made me laugh because I was like, what the fuck did that mean?
I think that's on the. That's not. That might be on the last episode or the second to last episode.
bro.
It's like towards the end of the show.
He was just sleeping, bro. He was just sleeping. I forgot why. Um, why it happened.
You're not perfect. Oh my god, that shit was creepy. And it was true. That was the worst part. But
Yeah, I think Courage was. I think the episode was about something about perfect. Like you can't achieve perfection or something, or perfection is impossible. Something
Oh
like that.
yeah. It was with the
Yeah,
lady who's trying to teach him stuff, and that
yeah.
was the nightmare he had.
I think that's the last episode of the show. If I'm not mistaken.
but yeah, I remember when I was younger, I used to want to make like a spin-off of Courage that was about Eustace and Muriel when they were younger, and it was supposed to be like a riff on Scooby-Doo, and it turned out they solved mysteries and they just had Courage walking around with them.
Courage would be non-existent if, but you know, Puppet Named Scooby Doo, same thing, right?
Courage A1 detective.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess we talked at length about stuff. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna get much sleep today. But I didn't get much sleep this morning either. But for something weird, man. Like real quick sidebar. This is gonna make me sound weird, but who cares? It's like when we were talking about the sexual transmutation. Long story short, true believers, audience. I was talking to a girl that I've been fooling around with, and I got a little hot and bothered. I got a little, the furnace was turned up to 11. If you catch my drift, right? And then like I like went to bed. I just went straight to bed. Didn't do anything. Didn't get slap happy. None of that stuff. Um, didn't get the spanky hands.
We get
And then
it,
when I
bro.
woke up, when I woke up, it was like I was on crack. I woke up and I had this crazy amount of energy, had a clear path of what I needed to do and what I wanted to do. Try to do my usual meditation, it was not working. My brain was just like, nah, let's go do the shit that we have to do. So I just stopped meditating and went and did the shit that I had to do. And it was just crazy how like I was just like, yo, what happened? 'Cause I only got like 6 hours of sleep. And for some reason, I was just like, time to do this. We got to do this. We got to do that. And I was like, damn, that just really confirmed for me that sexual transmutation is fucking real. It's 100% fucking real. You know, I don't know. What do you guys think? We gotta get fucking Emilio back on to talk about sexual transmutation.
You
Yeah.
know
Can't let
what?
it affect your
You
routine,
might have
man.
something to go in there because I woke up and I was drained today, and Yeah, I was trained to
What?
be. From exactly what this man was talking about. Except
You can't expound upon that?
except look, man, I had a lady friend come over.
He spanked her cheeks.
A lot of energy was wasted.
Yeah.
And then I woke up today
All
and I was
that
like,
fun experience.
I was tired. I was very tired. I slept for a real long time and I woke up and I went back to bed. I woke up, did some stuff, and I went right back to sleep. I couldn't even do anything. In fact, I'm tired right now. I might go back to sleep.
Got
Yeah,
some
I'm tired
weaklings,
of.
man. You got some weaklings, man. Letting that affect your discipline, man.
I
2023 is
don't
supposed to be
know,
a
man.
different step.
I put in the work. That's all I'm gonna say.
EJ, when was the last time your ass even had sex?
Why you asking me, man? Why you worried about what I'm doing, man? Work
I'm
mode,
saying,
man.
bro. I don't give a fuck. Remember that time a mutual friend of ours asked me how many bodies I had? And I
No.
remember what I told him? Remember what I said to him? I said something that was like, I said, it was kind of disrespectful, but it was me trying to put things in perspective for him. I was like, when you've done that enough times, you realize it's kind of goofy to start
That shit
counting.
is like washing your hands to me.
Yeah, I was like, it's
It's
kind
just
of
something you
goofy to
do.
keep
Now
counting.
you just sound like a whore.
It's
It's
just,
like if you're gonna have
just
sex,
feel
What?
good.
if you've had sex a certain amount of times, let's say it's like you just
Quarters.
realize,
That shit used to be a novelty. You used to be
yeah.
damn, this is
Oh
this is
my
the finish
god.
line.
Deviance.
No, but
You know what
let's
I'm
say even if
saying?
you've done it like 2 or 3 times, like if you're still sitting there just like, yeah, I'm on my fourth body, it's corny. You know, it's corny. Like who cares? No one cares about sex. We're all grown men. We know it's a thing that because it
People
gets to
talk about it as if it awards them some kind of currency. I mean, I guess if
exactly
you're in the sex
as
business,
as Ray just pointed out, it seems to actually fucking deplete you. Because I've had similar. I know exactly what he's talking about. I've had similar experiences where I wake up. Like there was a time, right? I remember I had sex with some girl. Woke up feeling weaker, like he said, and tired. Remember I went to the gym and I literally was weaker. Like I couldn't do the things I could previously do. And sure, you could say, "Oh, it's because like I came back after not being in there for maybe like 3 days." But other times, there have been times I've not gone to the gym for a week. I go back, and I guess because my body had mad time to rest, the thing I was doing before, I'll pick up whatever dumbbell I was struggling with, and I'm just like, damn, I was struggling with that.
mm,
But no, after that time I had sex with that girl and tried to go to the gym, it was either the same day or like I think it was the same day. It was not working. It just was not happening. Like my body was just like, nah, bro, let's relax. We did it. Let's chill. You know. So yeah, I got my.
y'all over here talking about this monk mode stuff. And y'all letting people come into your life and affect that, man. Changing the furniture, changing the whole decoration. It's
You know, you know,
crazy.
you know, you know why I found it. The way your face looked as you were saying it was just real funny.
Yeah.
The way
There's
you started looking
no
straight into the camera.
fucking way. No, 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 no. Time out, time out, time out, time out, time out. I know we're
Oh,
done
yeah.
with
Yeah,
this
he's
Velma
muted.
shit.
He's muted.
Are you gonna tell something crazy?
Shaggy starts going out with a girl named Scooby.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You scared the shit out of me. I thought you were dead about to say we were muted because your face looked
Yeah.
very actually unhappy.
Bro,
Scared.
because I'm reading this shit and
Can you
they,
show me the girl? Can you show me
it's
what
on
this
the
girl?
screen, bro.
Shaggy look goofy as fuck. That's his haircut? He look goofy as fuck, man. That don't give me hippie vibes, man. Like a
He's not
hippie
a
have a
hippie.
have to,
He's not a hippie. He's an
damn,
upstanding
bro.
citizen. He's a food reviewer.
Oh, well, I was saying
I know
this.
you say he's an upstanding citizen before, but I was thinking he had like some
No,
kind of hippie
no.
No, but
clothes or
I was
something.
gonna
He's a
say
normal guy.
the original Shaggy was not even a hippie either. He was a beatnik, similar to a hippie, but a
I
little.
mean, at least he looked like one though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're done. I think we head out.
that is truly goofy. Wow.
I mean, it's an upgrade because he had a crush on Velma, but
That's kind of insulting. Like if I was a black,
Shaggy gets some Scooby. That's
they
crazy.
if
named
I
her
was a,
Scooby, bro.
He
if I
gets some
was a black,
Scooby.
if I was a black woman, I'd be mad. They made me a dog.
They named her Scooby. I wasn't even gonna watch this whole video, but I now I gotta yeah, no, we out of here.
No, one more thing.
Now we're done. We're
Wait,
done.
no,
We're done.
go back to the Velma thing. Even the animation looks fucking terrible. Look at all the character designs. They all look so bad. Like those are some
You
terrible.
can draw better
Why
than
does
that, man.
why does she have an
Welcome me to
undercut?
try.
Like, why does Daphne have an undercut, but also has really,
Can't
really
draw
long
better than
hair?
that, but just because I can't draw better,
I'm
that
just
doesn't
confused.
mean
I don't understand this hair because she has an undercut, right? But the undercut's long. Like, what is going on here?
She got that look on her face too. That like that
Oh no,
stuck
that's just
up.
her face.
Get away from me.
That's just her face.
Who are you?
Nah, you don't understand. This bitch Velma, episode 1, knocked
Violated?
her across the room.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Why would you not be pissed off this bitch, bro? And then in episode 2, after doing nothing but like being disrespectful as fuck to Daphne, she went up to her, pretending to be, you remember, for old time's sake, asked her for a favor. And Daphne was like, give me $500. Bye.
You watched that. You watched a lot of that content, man, about the show.
Bro, you said
This man seen this man seen the whole season practically.
There's only 2 episodes, nigga.
Oh, I thought. Oh yeah, it just came out.
Look what's right underneath the Velma video.
Oh, this one? Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
But also people have been calling her dad an asshole, and I don't think her dad's an asshole. Her dad's like a normal guy who has to deal with his asshole of a daughter.
But I mean, you got to remember, we're the same guys who, like I said, I'd be watching those movies where the hardworking father is supposed, it's so like what he's doing is supposed to be bad apparently, and I'm always just like, you guys are very like.
Yo, in this very scene right here, right? Like, she's like, yo, dad, you can't just eat soggy fries and drown them in ketchup. And he's like, I've seen you eat fries out of the vacuum. Don't talk to me. And people was like, oh my God, is everyone... They said he was an asshole for that. I was like, no, he's eating some fries. And she coming out of nowhere talking shit about the fries he eating. He's like, bro, I've seen you do actual disgusting shit. Shut the fuck up.
Like, I'm your father. I know all your secrets.
Also, at one point, like, he's dating some other lady now because like, his wife left him or whatever. And Velma's clearly mad at her. And, like, sure, be mad at her because, you know, like, she doesn't believe that her wife has left you. But at one point, his dad is like, look, you have to, like, accept it. Like, your mom didn't disappear. She left us. And someone's like, yeah, like, he's such a dick for that. I'm like, no, it's been 2 years.
Someone told you this?
One of the reviewers were like, yeah, like, he's such a dick for saying that to her. And I was like, no. You're like, he believes his wife left him, and he was trying to like make his daughter come to the realization that her mom left. Like, yeah, that's it. And then Velma goes on this spiral about how much her mom must not love her, which is why she left. Her dad doesn't say any of that shit. None of that shit. Also, the only reason his dad even said that was because Velma has these hallucinations that cause heart attacks because they're so fucking terrifying. Because anytime she tries to solve a mystery,
can we stop normalizing being genetically inferior? They keep doing that with characters. Like, this character has this deficiency. It makes them more relatable.
Bro, she has these hallucinations where every time she solves a mystery, like, they're so scary they cause a heart attack. Her stepmom saves her life. Then her dad is like, look, kid, like, you gotta come to these terms. Like, you're causing yourself harm. And then Velma's like, I don't know. It's also the stepmom, also a normal character. And well, no, she does some weird shit, but she's the only person who is nice. Like, Velma comes at her with this asshole energy. She does not throw it back. She takes it and channels it into something positive.
Yeah. That's supposed to be a bad thing according to some of these modern leftists. Toxic positivity. But anyways, final thoughts, guys?
Look, I know it seems like I've watched a lot. This is it. After I watch this video right here, I'm done. Like, I will accept that Velma is shit until there is news otherwise. I hear episode 3 is out, but I'm not. I'm done. And the only reason I even was so heated about the show because like I really did sit here and think about all the Scooby-Doo media I've consumed. I was like it dawned on me. It's like, holy shit, that was a lot. That was a lot of Scooby-Doo media. Like, I am a fan of Scooby-Doo.
I also consumed lots of Scooby-Doo media, but I still didn't give a fuck. I'm just
kind of... It's not like I don't, like, I care a lot. It's just like, now that I've seen it, these are the reasons that I seem so, like, passionate. It's like, yo, what the fuck is this, bro? You know? Yeah. And, like, I am also very into cartoons. Like I do think cartoons as a media deserve some more respect, right?
Correct. But it's like I said, you get used to it, and it's like it's not even. It's like I told you when I saw that Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, and I was so used to this garbage already that like there was not even enough energy in me to be annoyed or to dislike. It was just like that sucks.
You gotta
Period.
pick your battles, bro. These are the battles I'm picking. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was like
These
that
are the ones
sucks.
I'm picking. Like same thing. Like I don't give a fuck about Marvel movies. You can show me the grossest, like the worst one. I don't care. I don't care. But put some respect on my cartoons, bro. Come on.
I can't bring can't muster the energy to care about this stuff
That was
anymore.
your childhood.
Look,
Yeah.
man. Like I said, you pick your battles. I've seen you get passionate about some shit. It's just not this. It's and that's
No, not
okay.
anymore. You
That's
do not
okay.
see me get passionate about comic books
Oh,
anymore.
that's what I'm saying. Like I've seen you get passionate about some things. It's just not this.
Yeah. Nowadays, like I don't even get passionate to
You get passionate.
negatively anymore.
Yeah, you do.
Not even negatively
It's
anymore,
okay.
unless it's about actual society or real things in the real world. When it comes to fiction, I can't find myself caring anymore.
Fiction's
But
the only thing that matters.
I get excited about fiction if something's good. Like when I was reading the Gore to God Butcher thing, there were exciting
It was a
things
good
in there.
recommendation, right? Yeah, it was an enjoyable experience. I
And,
enjoyed
and,
it. Which
and
is
the story,
why, after enjoying that, the very next issue is Lady
yeah.
Thor. And I was like, yo, what the fuck did you do to my son?
Or like when I read a very good manga or something like that, that
You
brings
don't read.
excitement into me. Well, anyways, EJ, final thoughts?
Uh, I guess to go over the conversations we was having about um, transphobia and gender expression, sexuality, and all that.
You
I
would
feel
pick
like
that.
those are I feel like those conversations are needed, in order for us to advance in society, to get to a place where we can use the word coexist, and that's exactly what it is. Coexisting, not just for the sake of coexisting, but actually, you know, trying to understand, the new era that we're moving towards. A lot of people have old fashioned ways of thinking, um, and it's not necessarily that they're offended by someone that is, expressing their gender in a certain way, but it's just they're not caught up. If like the whole thing with the pronouns, um, and just keeping themselves informed, but it's hard for them to be able to ask those questions when people are ready to pounce on them and not willing to educate. So it's a two-way street. You got to have people that is trying to understand, and you got to have people that are trying to communicate that. um so yeah, just conversations, man. Conversations.
Yeah. My final thoughts. There are gonna be a lot of them because my pronouns are they them, so you're gonna hear a lot of them.
There will be
You
multiple
know
viewpoints,
another
huh?
another really bad day dumb joke I made that had people laughing. I was saying I told some girl I had schizophrenia, and I was like, that's why my pronouns are they them. Because oh man, I really like just taking that joke
All right,
all
we're
the time.
signing.
Anyway,
That's it for us.
it's like
Oh my god.
like EJ said, these on some level these arguments and debates need to happen so we can advance as a society. Um, but it's like stop thinking about yourself as the champion and the arbiter of truth and the hero because you're
Pretty
not.
hard, bro. Everyone's the main character now.
Yeah, it's like you're not the main character. I mean, and a lot of the time, like I said about being NPCs, a lot of the media around makes you believe that you have an opinion or help makes you develop an opinion on something that one has no relevance to you, that you don't know anything about. Like you might not know jack shit about this. Like when it comes to gender stuff, I have no actual opinion about their things. Like even if sometimes I think some of their stuff is goofy, I'll just go, I don't understand it. I don't know enough about gender expression to go into that shit, right? I don't give a fuck about it. I don't even think about it. It's
Yeah,
not.
you don't have to say it in that kind of harsh tone though.
Oh,
You don't
sorry.
give a fuck about it.
It's not my world, Let them live in their world. I live in my world. I'm not gonna sit here and rant and rave about what people are doing. I mean, if like me and Ray have said before, if you're putting it out in front of me, then I'm gonna be like, that looks silly or that looks goofy or
When
like
it makes its when it makes its entrance into the mediums that you enjoy. Is what you're
exactly
talking about?
like if you're walking around, right, and you're talking about your wolf kin and you got a wolf tail hanging from your pants, like what do you want me to do? Like do you like what do you want from me?
Yeah, it's
You want me to look at that? What am I supposed
unavoidable.
to? I'm supposed to start pawing at you? I'm supposed to be accepting of that? How am I supposed to accept that? I'm gonna think that's goofy. I'm gonna think it's weird. Okay, I'm gonna think it's weird. The same way how if you're like really steeped into like certain types of feminism or whatever, like you just have been existing in a very social justice oriented, non heteronormative world, you're gonna look at a very heteronormative guy and he might make you gag a little bit. You might think, wow, like that guy sucks. Like that might be what you because you're just not it's not your thing, you know, it's not what you're into. Same with me. If you're walking around dressed in a wolf costume and you're like a furry, I'm gonna think that's weird. I'm sorry. That's just like I remember I
Also,
had a
I'm not gonna
discussion.
lie, it's
Yeah,
true. A lot of jokes in those types of communities are really just like, ha ha ha, straight people suck. Like that's it.
exactly,
That's literally
exactly.
it. It's just like,
Yeah,
and then if there's anything bad in any sort of relationship, it's because they're straight. Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
literally in a Facebook group where everything that if someone says anything bad, it's because they have to be in a straight relationship.
straight and white. Those
Yep.
are the two things I often say. Like I've had a girl tell me before that oh the solution she's like what she would do to fix me she's like oh you know I just feel like you have high levels of testosterone like your testosterone levels are too high she's like I would lower those and give you some and I'm just like bitch and this is the same girl who told me I was I was toxically masculine but it's okay because it just seemed to be my natural state like it just
What's
seems to
really
be your
funny is if
personality
she's saying all that shit, just means she likes you a lot, huh?
probably
She
and
means
she
she
Yeah,
just
doesn't
likes you as you are.
probably
It
should
doesn't
follow up
like
on that after
it
this
doesn't
episode.
like that she
Honestly,
likes me as as I am. Isn't that hilarious?
probably should
Yeah.
go explore that after this episode. To be honest with you, man, might have
Oh,
something
we
there.
can talk about that. That does sound funny. Yeah, that is an interesting topic. But
No, I was saying, to pursue that any
oh,
kind of
no, chief. I'll maybe I'll tell you what the person. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it because that person
pursue
needs.
pursue some kind of entanglement with this person.
Now I'm good on that one, chief. I'm good on that. But
Look, man, just because they got a box don't mean you gotta put stuff in it.
yeah, you know, it's like
Yeah,
it's
where'd you hear that on a fortune cookie?
Nah, I just said it right now. I'm a very thoughtful guy, bro.
he's a
On the
no,
fly.
he's not. It's not that he's thoughtful. It's that he's a fortune cookie.
I am
He's
a fortune cookie.
he's a
I
fortune
just print
cookie.
them shits out, bro.
But yeah, and, you know, like I said, I remember I had a discussion about this in a class where I was saying it was like this thing. It was like what's that motherfucker's name again? The creature from the Muppets with the long nose and he's blue. Kind of looks like Grover, but has like a long nose. I don't remember, but he was wearing a dress in this thing, and I was saying that you know there have been people who put on dresses in the past, and it was just a phase, something like that. And this guy was like, why does it have to be a phase? Like, why? And I was like, and I said to him, I was like, 100%. I was like, look, I'm gonna be honest. I was like, the way I grew up, the culture in which I grew up, niggas wearing dresses and putting wigs on and makeup was weird to us. We'd make fun of that. I was like, I was just, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm just being honest. That was my environment. I'm sorry. That's how we grew up. Um, so like, yeah, it's like certain things are gonna be weird to me, and that's that. Now, going on to the next thing, Velma, like I said, a lot of this material is created in order to piss you off. They want you to be low vibration. Now I'm gonna get like all spiritual and shit now. They want you to be low vibration. They want you angry about things that don't matter, that aren't important, so that you can be distracted and so that you can be anxious because anxiety burns up brain power and calories and keeps you in a state of constant survival. So this is literally what they want. They want you to
Gonzo
be
is his name, by the
distracted.
way.
What was that?
Gonzo.
Gonzo. There we go. They want you to be distracted from actually bettering yourself and improving your life. And if there's one thing you've gotten from this channel, the common thread here is we believe that you should live in a constant state of improvement and maximization. So you can't be distracted by these things, this outrage porn that they keep generating to try and get your eyes off the ball.
Yeah, you guys are distracted by the actual box itself, it seems.
Ooh-wee. I wouldn't say I was distracted.
Man, it kind of, it kind of held you back early in the morning. You know what
Not
I'm saying?
me.
From taking care of certain things.
I took care of what I needed to do, and then I went to bed. The fuck is wrong with you?
I
I
don't
did what I
know,
had to
man.
do, then I went to sleep.
Nah,
Look,
bro.
I
The
don't
box
know.
killed you, bro. It killed you.
look, man, all I'm saying is I never not done the things I had to do.
Nah,
I
not
just
Ray.
also take extra naps.
Nah, Ray. It looks like
You needed an extra nap though. You needed the extra nap.
yeah, it made you weaker, bro. Looks like you were the weaker sex in that scenario.
No. You said it
You
like
could have
she wasn't
spent
asleep the
that.
whole time.
Yeah, but she got what she wanted. She came to take your energy.
All right,
But it was
I'm leaving
a
now.
soul
Fuck you
snatcher.
guys. I'm
Should
leaving now.
My
be
man,
a soul snatcher.
We're gone, bro. We're leaving. Say the thing.
my man's racing like this.
Oh my
No,
God.
that was
Perform the
her.
exorcism on your ass.
That was her. But anyways, catch you same bad place, same bad time. Vanguard out.
I hate you. I hate you all.